Hello guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to my live stream. Let's see what we're gonna do today. If my stream is working or not, I wanna see that at the beginning. Yes, it's working, but I wanna change something. Probably. PUBG Mobile. Save. Now let's take it down. Okay, channel 1 live stream. Thank you. Hello, Swastika Powder. PUBG Mobile, yes. Now let's invite this. And now let's play game. Now let's start our game. What is this? Auto matchmaking. Third person shooter. Reach level 8 to unlock a rank. Okay. Metro level. What is this? I don't know. Classic mode. What is arena? Let's play classic mode. I don't know the game, so we are gonna play arena. Three likes. Let's see. Oh guys, I don't know how to play this game, so I'm just trying. Okay. I don't know. I can't go there. Oh, we can't go there. So there's. Maybe my live stream will be for an hour or so. I don't know.
I need a weapon.
Try and go to a house or a store and wear some clothes. Okay. What are you doing? Oh, enter the portal. I don't know where to go. Let's go to Pachinki. Okay, guys. I don't have anything for jump. I don't have anything for a jump button. Like I have not assigned any button for that. What do we do for auto run? I don't know. Sorry for that as well. Pachinki. Hello guys. Hello. Yes, my mic is working. So let's run from here. I don't have any. I have no gun. I have no gun. I have nothing. I need one. I need one. Do I got gun? No. Yeah, I got a pistol. I need some kind of air. I don't have any there. Oh, sensitivities. Boom. All right. Boom. Boom. Why it's not auto phone? Sensitivity scrapped. How to swap the item? Nobody. I can't find anybody because maybe this is a noob lobby. Even I don't know how to play this game. So somebody shot somewhere, but I don't know. Nobody. I can't find anybody anywhere. I think all of them are hiding. Let's see if I can find somebody or not. But if you find somebody, who are gonna kill them, that's for sure. So let's see. I don't know where are we. Just running here and there, just trying to find some enemy or people or anybody. Let's see. Guys, if you want to play with me, you can come and join on my live, follow me, and we can like play afterwards. I am ready to play with you. If anybody is listening, I'm just looking. This, I don't know from where. Maybe that. Yes, that's it. Yeah. So let's see. need to kill somebody. I can't only run and run and run. I think he killed that enemy. What happened? Hmm. Oh, I don't know. Guys, I think we can't play games. I think we're banned or something like that. I think this is gonna be short game. Oh my god. I don't know what happened. Oh my god. I don't know what happened. I was playing game and suddenly my game crashed and it's saying no, I'm getting message something like I'm banned or something like that, but I don't know. This will be my last try. If not, I'm gonna play PUBG Mobile tomorrow. Yeah, there's something wrong with this game right now. Maybe for me or maybe for a lot of people. I don't know. Now what should I do? Let's see. I need to edit video, but I don't know what I'm gonna do first. Then after that I'm gonna edit some video, okay? Maybe watch party? FNCS major. Let's see. Yeah, let's watch this one. Watching. like, subscribe, and like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.
What is going on, FORTNITE fam? Welcome back to the FNCS. We saw EU, we saw their games in Heat number 2, and now it's our turn. What is going on? Who is going to be playing? Well, we'll break all of that down and so much more as we get ready to kick off the first game. I want to bring in our analyst. You know him, you love him. It's Kelly Link. It is Vivid, and we have so much to break down because a lot has kind of happened and will happen today. So first off, in case you missed it, Lyon. We're going to Lyon, France for the FORTNITE Global Championship. It's going to be amazing. How are you guys feeling about that?
I'm excited. I'm ready. We all already know just how crazy the French community can be, and to have them there in their home country, I think it'd be really exciting to watch.
FNCS happens so fast, right? We have those couple months break. It's like, man, like no FNCS. We come back, boom, announcements for globals, booms. We're already into group number 2 today. It all just happens so fast. Very, very excited about France, though. That's right, that's right. All right, so let's talk about this. Our group number 2 is stacked. There is so many names to break down here. We'll start really easy, right? Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. A trio that I would not want to see if I was participating in Heat number 2.
Yeah, I mean, what can't you say about this trio right here? Peterbot coming off of quite possibly the strongest run that we have ever seen from a player in the FNCS ever, going from second place in Major 1 last year to getting back-to-back wins, and then of course that global champion first place with Poyo. Now separating from Poyo, joined by Cold, who has an insane amount of accolades in his own right, and then of course Ritual as well. I just can't even begin to express just how dominant this trio has been so far.
We're gonna watch FNCS
Just
Major.
super incredible, right?
Major 1,
It's kinda like
what is this?
the Peterbot, incredible.
Yeah,
The best year we've ever seen.
competitive.
And now joining up with Cole, the only
2025,
player
okay?
last year who was kind of joining that conversation of like, if there's a player that can kind of take Peterbot down, it's going to be Cole. Now they're on the same team, and they are proving why both of them are such a strong pairing when it comes down to trio.
Peterbot is like quite talented. This
That is right. We're
season,
excited to see
previous
them because we
season,
also have some
I
stats
suppose,
to break down. Why don't we start at looking at their Div Cup performances? Yeah, I mean, if for some reason you're not familiar with this trio, we just have numbers for you, and the number is 1.
Yeah, it's kind of funny looking at their play-ins and seeing how they went, and a lot of people are like, what's going on? Are they washed? Some people are saying, oh, well, they just didn't even try in day 2. That might honestly be the case. They qualified into the group stages just through the points that they got in day 1,
Yes.
and then in day 2 they got 93rd place. So
They are just
I feel like it
talking
wasn't
like,
an accurate representation, the play-ins of how they are. But then when you look at their div finals, I think that kind of paints a better picture.
Yeah, I mean, they just can't stop winning, right? Obviously, the number 1's right there looks like some sort of a glitch, but no, that's accurate. And then also the performance evaluation cups, taking home 3, getting top of the leaderboard in those as well. Just been so dominant. Yeah, this is a trio we will definitely be keeping eyes on and probably expect them to get a victory royale. If we don't see them get a victory royale, I would just assume they're practicing something that we don't know is a strategy. I have no idea. As we bring up this lobby list, though, there are a couple more names to throw away. We wanted to highlight Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx. Obviously, Cooper, a previous global champion, now paired up with Sphinx and Vidil. Talk to me about these guys.
You know, I actually got to have an interview with Vidil and Cooper separately, and just hearing the vibes is the first thing that really comes to my mind about this trio. Cooper and Sphinx are longtime friends. They knew immediately once it got into trios that they wanted to play together, and they tried it off a little bit with Noxie, I believe, but they dropped Noxie around week 2, week 3, and they contacted Vidil himself saying, we want you to come to NA. We want you to be a part of our trio. We think we can dominate. And let's be honest, when it comes to NA, especially in this major, the argument is who can be first place. The real storyline is who can take down Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. And as far as just numbers go, it looks like Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx might be that trio. Might.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised by this. Obviously, a very, very stacked trio. You have the global championship, or the global champion from a couple years ago in Cooper. And not to mention, I love watching trios because when the vibes mesh very, very well, it's just entertaining. It all flows super, super well. And let me tell you something, this is a very entertaining trio to kind of watch whenever they're on stream playing together. It's just so fun to kind of watch them enjoy the game together, make jokes the entire time.
Yeah, Cooper's had a pretty good run this season so far. He's won a solo cash cup and done a second as well. And then you just look at the history that Vidil has, 20 different FNCS finals. And of course, it's not just Cooper that has the title. Vidil as well has won an FNCS grand finals. So to see them all come together in this trios, I love it.
You know what I love is actually hearing from the players. As you mentioned, Kelly, you had time to catch up with two of these players, and Cooper has kind of laid out what he thinks each player does and what role they do well. So why don't we hear from them with this little clip?
I'd say the roles throughout my trio, Sphinx is the IGL. He's been an IGL for a very long time, very good experience. I kind of fill in as like a good support fragger role. I kind of switch between the two. Whatever Sphinx needs me on, I'll be there. That's kind of me. I just kind of listen and I do my thing. And I'd say Vidil also kind of fits under that role, support and fragger. I'd consider Vidil more of a fragger though. He kind of is the guy that makes those plays, the game-winning plays. And but when Sphinx needs us on him, we're always there.
Always thankful to hear from the players, kind of get their insight, and thanks to you, Kelly, for spending time with them and asking them these questions. So we obviously have talked about two duos. I'm going to bring up that live list. There's a couple more we wanted to highlight because then again, this hobby is just stacked. It's absolutely crazy. Muzz, Yapko, Rise. We wanted to highlight these guys because this is a trio that just recently formed. But I feel like, Kelly, you would probably call this like an international trio.
I mean, yeah, of course you got Muzz, originally from OCE, and then going to NA East, which eventually became NA Central, and then you got Yapko, the Polish player, bringing it down, and then of course Rise, who had such a tumultuous year last year, almost winning Major 1, and then splitting from his longtime duo mate of the Yamzo. But I really like this trio. Yeah, they're somewhat new. They formed, I believe, week 4, week 5. And we've already seen such a great style from them, really playing through consistency. I don't know if they're going to be getting the Victory Royale today, but I definitely think that this team is going to be walking away in the top 5.
I'm always a big favorite of like experience and how many hours a trio has. So I like the fact that you kind of pointed out that they're recently formed, right? The whole drama with Clicks, Rise, and Muzz, that trio not really working out. But on the flip side, we got Muzz, Rise, Yapko, Clicks, Ben, and Mugen Yamzo out of kind of like that whole shift. And I really feel like it worked out very, very well for both of those trios. I mean, both are doing very, very well. And this trio is going to be a favorite to qualify for sure in the finals today.
Okay. What about one more trio? One more trio to like toss the name, okay, into the ring here. Why not Aviv, Bugha? And I don't even know. Maybe Threats? Does that sound like it could be something that we might be worth talking about?
It's actually quite interesting. Bugha, technically, is the reigning trios champion, not just in Chapter 2, Season 8, where he won with Muzz and Miro, but also the Grand Royale, where he won with Miro and Dukes. And Bugha, he's just a staple of competitive Fortnite, has been competing at the top for such a long time. But the question on everyone's mind right now is Bugha locked in?
You bring up the whole, trios way back when. I honestly feel like this should be a meta that Bugha can kind of lock in and use that experience. And then, not to mention, it's very clear that Bugha, Threats, and Aviv, they're all very, very close friends. I mean, Bugha has duoed with Threats. Bugha has duoed with Aviv, right? So they've been in the shuffle before. They themselves have experience playing amongst each other. I feel like this is kind of like the perfect storm for them, but got to be proven when it actually gets down to the games today.
That's right. We're getting closer. So why don't we take a quick little pit stop here? Let's introduce your casters. It's Jacob PR and Monster D-Face. Thank Thank you, Zeke. That's right. I'm going to say what the entire community is thinking. We are ready for Group 2 here, Jacob. Obviously, the roster. What a great set of teams to look at. Yeah, you talked about how experienced, how stacked this lobby is. 291 FNCS finals appearance in this lobby. Let's talk about this season. 329 finals throughout competitions this season alone. I think calling it stacked is a little bit of an understatement. Yeah, definitely. And then you have all those other, like, let's call them auxiliary teams, right? In the bubble, Sparebow, Veteran, obviously Sonetto, Skittles, Chimp, right? Like all these other trios that are, of course, landing at major POIs. If you look at the history of the teams that are qualifying right now across all the regions, they're coming out of named drops. Group 2 couldn't be better, obviously, for us to now watch. So I'm excited for this. Yeah, I'm definitely excited as well. Anything can happen here in Group 2 of the FNCS, but we could talk all day, Monster. Let's go ahead and throw it back into our analysts so they can break down more of what we're about to see. Sorry about that. I was lost in Jacob's eyes. Okay, anyway, let's keep the ball rolling here. So obviously, this is heat number 2. Last week, we got to see heat number 1, which is kind of helpful, right? Because we can take some of that data and then kind of bring it on over to heat 2 and go, okay, like, what are we expecting that consistency to be, right? And we can use those numbers to kind of help indicate, right, Vivid, like, where do we need to be at the end of this?
Yeah, exactly, right? Everybody playing in group number 2, group number 3, everybody watching amongst these groups, right? We already saw group number 1. We have something to kind of expect. And here are the top 5 teams, consistency-wise, that qualified into the finals. And 4 of these teams are actually very, very similar in a pretty cool stat that, me and Kelly kind of dug up and kind of discovered, and that's
anybody want to have watch party, you can come and join my live stream.
Actually stayed in the top 5 throughout all of the games in Group 1. All 5 games, they were in the top 5. So I thought that was very, very cool, right? Like, we can kind of use that to maybe make some predictions today. Teams that are doing well earlier on, that are already top 5, we can kind of expect them to qualify through. But another interesting stat was that pop-off winners. Teams in the top 10 winning the game, there were 0 in group number 1. So what does that mean? All of the victory royales in group number 1 came from teams that were not necessarily doing well on the consistency leaderboard. So you can kind of look at all of the qualification spots in group number 1 and be like, wow, there were some serious clutches that happened.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you have the Donnie 1v3. You have Cease, of course, clutching it up, getting enough points in the final moment to get his team into that 10th place spot. But obviously, there's a bit of a difference between Group 1 and 2, as we heard NDF and Jacob said. I mean, it's a difference between 3 titles in the FNCS for Group 1 and 15 titles between all the players here in Group 2. So I think they're a bit more experienced, and I don't know if we're going to be seeing kind of the same situation in this group.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt it changes from group to group, but I'm happy that you kind of brought up that Cease clutch, because that's something that I also wanted to look at, because I feel like it's important to know how big of a clutch that Cease pulled off. So when we go into kind of like our final game of the day today, we can maybe use this clutch as a merit to be like, okay, these teams that are, at this point on the leaderboard, do they have a chance to qualify through the consistency leaderboard, or are they going to need a victory royale? First and foremost, though, I mean, we got to give a huge shout out to Cease, because this clutch was incredible. An old guard in the FORTNITE competitive scene, been playing for a very, very long time. And, sometimes the older guys, the mechanics, they kind of washed away a little bit. They're hard to kind of pick it back up, but Cease proving that some of that is still there for him. I wanted to take a quick look at the leaderboard after game number 4 from group number 1, right? So this was going into game number 5. You can see Cease, Jack, Blake, they're in 9th place, 121 points. They ended the group at 200 plus points, right? Like, it was an 80-point swing for that trio. That's kind of the merit that I'm going to be looking at today. It is possible for teams to pull up these giant clutches, not just to a victory royale.
Yeah, and we saw between 10th and 15th place for Group 1 was only a 42-point difference. So those 80 points right there can obviously make or break so many trios. But it's going to be quite the gauntlet, Zeke. There are so many big names, so many teams that could easily make it into any grand finals, but we only have 10 spots.
I know, and what's crazy too coming off EU is like what we saw there was Queasy comes in, king of high ground, right? We're like, okay, what are we supposed to do? This guy's gonna be terrorizing our lobby. He qualifies, gets a victory royale game number 1, and that's it. It's like, okay, wait, hold on. We can all breathe for 4 games, right? So as we kind of highlight some of these trios, any one of them could look to just go into game 1, get a victory royale, start thinking about, Major 1 finals. as we've kind of seen from EU already, do you guys have anything you guys are cooking up? Like, one of the questions I asked them was, how do we combat this, like, chaotic environment, right? Everyone wants the victory route. Everyone is running around low ground, mid ground, nothing to their name because they all want the same thing. We want the win. And on top of that, we have a team on high ground above us that won't let us breathe.
I think at this point there isn't much more you can do than what you've been doing before, which is preparing. Hopefully these teams have been watching what's been going on, not just in Group 1, but also in the EU, Groups 1 and 2, having a plan, having a strategy, and not just a strategy of how do we win, but also how do we evolve as Group 2 evolves as well.
Yeah, and that's a good point, Z, right? All that chaos, that's kind of what trios ensues. There's 3 players that can make a play at any point in time, even if it's just a trio that's up on the high gun, 3 players shooting at the same box. Very, very chaotic, but this is why they are the professionals. They know how to handle these situations, and I'm excited to see who handles it best today.
That's right, y'all got me super hyped, so let's do it. Game number 1 is ready for us. So, casters, take it away. We're excited for the weekend here. Group 2, Game 1 is about to be underway here at the FNCS. Fortnite is on the menu right now. Obviously, Group 1 was just setting the stage for us, Jacob. So, what are you looking forward to?
I'm honestly looking for some underdog stories. We talked about how stacked it is at the top, the players with experience, but let's talk about those underdogs. Let's see somebody today that has 0 finals experience make it into the finals at the end. That's what I want to see, Monster.
Hey man, well, we all know anything can happen here as the battle bus starts to ready up right now. The drops, of course, we are looking at the center of the map. We're going to be paying close attention to what Peterbot, Cold, and of course Ritual can do. Given that their, again, performances leading up, they seem like they were kind of easing up. So let's go ahead and do it and jump on the battle bus. All right, Jacob, here we have it. Game number 1 is right in front of us. This is where things get exciting. We only have 5 games, right? So every single round is going to matter so much, not only for the overall standings, but of course, who will win and go straight to finals right now. That is what we're going to be looking at. There are teams being contested all around the world. And we get to start with Glow Squad.
Yeah, this one's going to be a tough one. Over towards Tinkle Terrace. A lot of space, but immediately they get those floor spawns and go to work. Zach is going to be the first one dropped. He goes back to back. They don't even see him at the top of the roof, just terrorizing everybody down below. And he's not even wasting time getting the elims. He's letting his teammates know where the last player is at for a quick cleanup right out of the gates.
Big eliminations here at the Twinkle Terrace. A quick set of points there. That's exactly how you want your drop to go down. Day, Glow, and Wick CR, they're playing very, very well. Meanwhile, on the other side, a fight's already concluded. A team is just now landing at the Demon's Dojo, really showing you that the battle bus will, of course, affect your drop in the action here. Pressure's on right now as Circus got CR right behind the tree, and it's going to be a quick elimination. And another full team now quickly wiped here at the Demon's Dojo. Last week, the Demon's Dojo was one of the most highly sought after drop spots, right? And for good reason. We already know that there are plenty of upgrades to pick up here, but more importantly, those major medals, of course, and the mythic items you can walk out of here with.
Yeah, it's definitely very, very important. And you spoke about last week, as these games go on, Victory Royale winners are no longer in these lobbies. Spots will open up. We expect to see teams switch it up, but the fan favorite, the team that you almost expect to be in the FNCS finals this major is Cold, Ritual, and Peterbot. And you can see Flooded Frogs with the changes that came to Flooded Frogs. They said, let's get out of there. Let's go to the new EOI, the new overpowered one that they just claimed. And you can see there was only 2 people there because they command so much respect, so much space to loot up elsewhere as well.
Here's a team we didn't really get to talk about a couple of moments ago, but come on, let's be honest. Diego, Possessed, we've seen them in many finals lobbies before. They're going up against Maniac, Drastic, and FX Line here over at the Shogun Solitude, and a very tough fight right now, I would say, for Maniac and company here, given that, again, they're going against very, very experienced teams. It does seem like Diego's trio is set up for success right now. Shields are looking pretty solid. They have a bit of high ground here to work with.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at the drop maps. I know it's just kind of like a guess, like an estimate of where teams are going to drop, but Diego, Possessed, Ralph, they were the team honestly, they thought they were uncontested. They thought it was free out here. And then you got a surprise contest. And then this is one of those spots on the side of the map. There's not really a lot of metal. You got to rotate down into so many different crevices to get to the next part of the map. So I do love the play they're making to disengage. Don't put everything you got here in game number 1 in a risky off-spawn fight.
Yeah, it just shows you the difference, right? Different contested drops. If it ends quick, you're good. If it's going to get dragged out, you want to go ahead and move on sooner rather than later before you get punished and put in a worse off situation. Jack Comas and Rise, we've highlighted this team so much, right? Just given that, of course, we saw the swaps. Clicks, of course, once being a part of this trio, who's now found himself in the finals. You got to keep eyes on them. And then, of course, Vidil. The biggest surprise to me of all the trios, of all the rosters out there, this one right here, Vidil coming to America to compete with Sphinx and Cooper. What a sweet surprise here now.
Yeah, can you imagine the turnaround for Vidil this season? He didn't necessarily perform so well in the FNC trial on EU. Didn't really have anybody to play with. We heard about the phone call. Cooper went from a coin flip to a phone call, getting Vidil all the way from EU to NA. And Monster, let me tell you, they have been one of the most consistent teams this season outside of Peter, Cole, and Ritual. And that's why a lot of our analysts from all over, not just the ones on the show, are looking at this as a potential team to take that top spot away from them.
Oh, that's right. And then, of course, Booga, Threats, and Aviv. I like to look at this team as not only a highly skilled, very competent set of players, but friends, right? Friends that, of course, have participated with one another in a various amount of events and different types of different tournaments. And now, of course, looking to get it all back together here for the FNCS. We're going to back one good time. Had a lot of chances to catch up with Threats himself. Just a very level-headed player right here. This is a team that can easily, of course, pull a Victor Royale. And then you have Sinetto, Veer, and Scar here. I mean, I have to highlight them just a bit.
Scared,
Right?
okay.
It's a great drop spot, but more importantly, very, very seasoned team as well. So this is what makes Group 2 so exciting. So much to work with. And look at this. Looks like they are turning in that Water Spirit.
Yeah, my only real question is how a lot of these teams that are uncontested are going to kind of set up, start to get their surge. You can see a real priority on looting, getting your materials, getting your resources. That way you can. You see him kind of letting his two teammates. You see them in the mini-map push a little bit towards the south. They know surge is going to be in their head. You see the stat right there, around 1,700 damage to stay above storm surge all game. And that's why you see his teammates trying to be proactive to get, even if it's a little bit of surge early on.
Wow. Some easy math for you to work towards.
Oh my
Bacon
god.
Cam and NAC looking for some exchanges. Meanwhile, Peterbot, though, biting off more than they can chew. Ritual and Cold left to try to clutch this one up. A lot of down bodies here, though, so this is absolutely winnable. It's a 2v1 situation right now for Ritual and Cold.
Yeah, and honestly, when I was kind of thinking about this team, talking about weaknesses, and you kind of look at them at first glance, they have no weaknesses, and then I really start to think their only weakness might even be themselves, and Cold realizes to solo. We talked about how dangerous he can be as an individual player, especially with Peterbot on his team, but with no help, he lands the first shot. The second one's even easier to complete the wipe, and if you look at that, Cold, all 3 eliminations for the team, setting the tone and the pace for this trio.
You line up 10 teams in this lobby right now, I promise you, 9 of them are not making that push there. It doesn't make sense, but Cold is so confident. When he wants the door open, he kicks it down. Well played for him. Jumping on into Victor V here, Skittles and Chim. I like this pairing right here. Honestly, we saw a lot of Victor V last year, right? Paired up alongside Paper. He's had so much time to grow and continue to mature as a player. And he had a big decision, Jacob, right? Does he stay on NA and basically compete here on the central servers or otherwise? And he decided to stick around and take on the competition.
Yeah, and I love that. He's somebody that you kind of think about years ago on that Western region contesting Arkham and Epic. Everybody on Twitter, everybody on social media just kind of looking at them saying maybe they're just not doing it right. But he said, I'm not backing down. I'm not scared of a challenge. If you want this drop spot, you're going to have to fight me. And since then, you talked about the experience. He's been doing so well. And now with 2 players like that, I think he can continue to perform well as we go from team to team, checking out these spots. A lot of them already getting these mountain ranges, the top of these hills, trying to set up their surge bases, especially with the zone pulling towards the south. That's how they're going to get the surge, or at least the best chances at getting free surge.
Yeah, speaking about southern teams, you have Possessed Diego and Ralphie, who have continued to move down past the solitude here, but like what we're looking at right now, just getting situated, right? The name of the game here. No need to fully slow down your momentum though, as we all mentioned. You gotta find battles, need to find your tags, and being down here is only gonna work against them if they can't find a trio, and little do they know, everyone seems to be long gone now.
Almost seeing the results of what happens when you're contested and don't fight it out. Where they're rotating now, a whole team already lands there, so it's already looted. Brutal boxcars, you see not only 2 teams directly in this POI, you see on the right of the minimap, 2 more teams set up at different elevations, just trying to get some easy shots down here on these teams that are trying to get as much metal as possible. The drop spot probably not having that resource, and you can see Macwood Bacon on the outside, and their trio towards the outside. Macwood got cracked, so he's just kind of forced to box up at the edge of the zone, wait to heal.
Nothing going on.
While everybody else kind of gets free reign
Yeah,
at
just
him.
farming and shooting
Like
like.
both second there, pinpointing Macwood's bad positioning here. They're on the outer edge of the zone. It's going to cost them some extra mats to edge their way in. Meanwhile, Joji playing a super wide spread here, taking full control of this general area here with Nerface and Aaron. I like what they have going on. Seems like Joji's got his team farming up the material count for whatever they manage to invest here in this game.
And even though Joji's going to have to rotate, I love this position. This is how you're going to get a lot of that surge coming from all those teams that are rotating from north to the south. But even though he has the Fury assault rifle, compared to the Hollow, it's going to be much, much harder for him to try to get the shots that he needs. But that's why you see him and his 2 teammates kind of spread out towers in 3 different locations to try to cover more ground and try to get more lines of sight on enemy players.
We can take a look at some of those players right now, but here's over to the Warriors watch. SMT's Caliper, Ziggy, Eduardo,
Nothing happening.
also set up for success. One thing's for sure, Oni Mask being picked up by every trio that finds it here.
Eduardo.
Its mobility being the key to, of course, success here for most. Ziggy, though, looking a bit worse for wears. Here's a team that's seemingly gone through a bunch of heals, so their drop not really yielding much for the trio right now. A bit of a scrappy turnout for them.
It's just tough trying to rotate out from some of these POIs. I talked about the different elevations, but with the zone pulling towards the south, that's where a lot of those teams that were able to get some of those mountain ranges, we kind of look at the one towards Brutal Boxcars, even though it's not going to be in the zone, towards Floodgates that have many mountains there, and even towards Mast at the bottom of the map where Video Cooper and Sphinx, there's going to be a lot of positioning that these players are going to try to beat players to the punch. And then you see on the other side of the coin, everybody else that's rotating out is going to have to be a little bit more risky, trying to fight while rotating into the zone in order to get their surge, a risk that they're hoping will pay off.
That's a big opener right there for Kaz's trio right now as they have the high ground and they're forcing that team into another one. I'm not sure if they caught wind of their another trio being there, but it does seem like with the counter fire coming back, they're going to ease their way towards the zone first. And it's actually Joji's trio who has managed to just continue to hold fast there. Aaron taking up the tower and Joji coming on down. Meanwhile, Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual find themselves deep inside the storm. Not feeling any pressure right now to find damage since they got their full eliminations and chased the team down.
Yeah, that's given them a little bit of comfortability, a little bit more flexibility as well to kind of make this slower, less dangerous rotation towards the western side of the map. And that's where they instantly try to beeline their way in. If you can see as well, the little edge of the zone, well, perfect, it kind of pops up. It is going to lean over towards the west side overall. Yes, it can center up. Yes, it can pull over just a little bit towards the east. But overall, this zone will be on the western side of the map, giving Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual fantastic positioning as soon as they make their way in.
One thing to think about too, when you watched how their fight broke out, they got to get the full eliminations on the down bodies, right? So that's just a little extra padding as far as overall damage is concerned. So I really do think they're keeping very close tabs on how well they're playing right now, and they don't have a worry in the world at all right now. So they're going to be the only team coming in from behind this zone right here. Likely to rotate now into Aox, who's holding this very isolated tower right now. The fact that they marked it out could honestly tell us they might even be thinking about sneaking up there, right? There shouldn't be a trio in that box by any means, but to talk about Joji, Nerface, and Aaron, they'll back on over to the action here. Jacob, it's going down right now. Looks like a lot of toe-to-toe action here.
Yeah, it's almost wondering how They were kind of just being the aggressors, pressuring all these teams around them, and then they end up in a scuffle. It looks like Fred, Nut, and the trio just had enough of just getting tagged up on their way in, and so many other trios probably feeling the same. They cannot get the surge rotating from north to south, playing that slow, hollow twister type game, so they're choosing to fight it out, and they're hoping that these fights really work out. And for Fredbot and Nut, they lost Liam, but you can see all the heals, different water sprites. You can hear the chug splashes as well, so they'll be able to stay in this position, and once the two teams disengage off of this fight, that's when they're going to try to go for that reboot on Liam.
He's got so much to work with. Not only 3 charges in the bag, but of course you see these others
They're just trying.
trapped in the box right there.
Yeah,
But the
also,
push ends
they
up
only have
happening here. Fred defends himself alongside Nut right now. That plays out pretty well. Seems like they're in the advantage, I would say, but this is still a 2-on-2 situation here. Anything can go down. Just looking for a mistake, looking for an opportunity. Joji feels the pressure, starting to push in from the trio. Up above, also looking in. There's just so much happening right now. And there, finally a team moves out, but in comes Skittles and Chip here potentially in the distance as well.
Their saving grace right there is a whole nother team that looks like they got distracted on it. Duo was hounding this surrounding position, trying to get some easy surge, and now they're the hunting. You see on the outskirts, just above, Victor V, Chip, and Skittles. They took an opportunity. They got some good damage, and it looks like they're going to try to follow up on it. But considering their resources right now, they still have to make it to zone and even rotate further towards the south, likely in this next pull. They're going to choose to disengage and try to play the smart game.
Victor was thinking about, of course, avoid only masking off to the side, but no, instead his team's going to wrap back around a little bit more directly into the safe zone now. And they need to stop and potentially heal here, but there is just so much happening. All pressure's on. It seems like they got
Oh my
a
God.
knock on Liam straight out of the sky from the
Only
pickup
one died
there.
till now, so let's see.
They are not going to get the rewarded elimination credit here, given that the pickup is going to happen, but still good damage for them. And that's the difference. Look, it's keeping them in the game quite literally right now.
Yeah, much needed damage. You don't want to be outside of zone, having to rotate in, and have active surge tearing you down, forced to use your heals. 104 isn't much, but we both know something is better than nothing. That's going to give them a little bit more comfortability to try to finish this rotation. You can see how the zone, there's nothing at the edge. So again, this will continue to pull towards the south.
Chip and Skittles, Victor V making the right decision, I think, to trail this team here. You know, given that this player was, of course, knocked, they have to be down on just material count as well. They're going to naturally start splitting stuff up. But let's take our focus on over to the islands here that just spawned in, of course. Up top, Taikasito, Hakio, and Yuma are the first to take position right now. There's another team nearby, but they're on the natural terrain here.
That's very good positioning to get surge for all these teams rotating around. You have some of the best elevation on the map, but when everybody's already boxed up, whether it's brick or metal, it's going to make it exponentially harder as they sneak a shot through. He takes just a little bit too much
damage, 104 above the damage threshold.
Another team that we're seeing in a situation where they have the numbers to be above, but instantly just like that, you can see them fall below.
Notable teams here on the big mountain. Cooper's trio, Booga's trio, but let's get back to Skittles and crew on the move right now. Looking to hunt down Liam and his trio. So far, so good for them, but they've spent a lot of time here, spent so much time inside the storm line. Fredbot, that is all that's left. Liam falls once again. It was expected. Look at this, Fred out of heals now, so very desperate situation here starting to play out for them, and they're below the surge. It's just going to be a matter of time now if they can't actually find a refresh or a set of eliminations here now.
The way they have to rotate is just so stacked. Two teams directly there, two more on the outside, 4 total watching this direction. And since they're outside of zone, shooting to get surge, it's like an alarm. Everybody knows they're back there. Everybody knows they're suffering. So that could be their chance to really take advantage. You see the shots continue to get fired out by Victor V. Skittles trying to pressure them because they too are down on surge. They were just one of those teams towards the outskirts of the map all the way towards the north that didn't really have anybody to fight off spawn, and now they're stuck in this situation.
Look at that. Storm Surge turns on. They're thinking about waiting this one out. Heals are down. Shots going on all around them. Victor, I like how proactive we see him. Never stopping and getting complacent, as some may. He's on the hunt right now, but it's not looking good right now. The damage really starting to add up here. A tag below. It's just tough. 23 now. Let's see if you see the sneeze. Look in someone's direction. Take the shot. 27 above. That's literally one shot for the team below you on that storm surge threshold, and it's going to be exponentially harder now, Monster, because now they have to rotate over this mountain with the team positioned on top. Oh yeah, shots coming in from above now. Everyone's got their focus on here. Victor making trouble with Aaron and Nerface's trio down low. It is not looking good for that team right now. It's not looking good for Audio's trio either up here. From the high ground, you saw them trying to put pressure on the teams in the mountain, but those teams were just besting them in every exchange. Now they're forced to rotate out. I like what we're watching, but they're going to be forced to land on a team at this point. And no, the hesitation to double back.
I know that.
Will likely get finished here.
143 below
and Yuma is all
this soccer is not good, guys.
Yeah, and you notice one thing about that island, right? You see the boss is still up there. That just goes to show the amount of struggles they had the entire time. And even going down. Was that the boss? Was that the boss that just took him down? Was that 3 points for the elimination? Oh, there you have it. Damage coming from every which way. They just couldn't catch and break that game. But you also can't just leave the boss landing out either. So take a look at some highlights though. While Storm Surge was giving teams problems, you see Muzz racking up his set of points from down low.
Because I was
Great game
having
so
some
far
donut.
for our vets, if you want to call it that. All the teams highlighted at the top of things seem to be doing just fine, as we expect of our very much seasoned trios. Look at this. 5 Elans for this team, and we're only now getting to the end game.
Yeah, you can kind of see it was probably some tough eliminations. We saw some of that road just to get here in zone number 7. It really cost them a lot. You can see the Void Mask on Nerface. Only 2 uses left, so it's going to be tough for them to traverse the rest of this game without an elimination. So that's something that they really need to keep their eyes on. Just like Bacon, Cam, Macwood, trying to look out, get some damage. 63 below the threshold. It is active as well, so they need to be in a quick hurry.
But they don't have any heals, so
right next to them. That's Cooper, Video, and Sphinx.
Let's see.
They're going on the offensive, trying to get the
Maybe they're gonna die.
shot on the video.
Try to below, maybe one shot.
It's a battle-worthy.
One shot, one shot, one shot, one
Trios
shot.
right here.
Let's see, let's see, let's see.
Macwood pushing onto video. Sphinx's loss here. They
No.
absolutely have to. This is full desperation. Cooper, you can see through the wall, have the shotgun ready. It's Video who lays the first blow. Into the box they go. And everything is coming down now, tumbling, crushing beneath the pressure of the damage of the surge there. And they just turn it on. They go right back into things. They say, you know what, let's get the points as well. Let's also secure the loot here. And it just doesn't get better here for Cooper's trio. 4 Elans now.
That trio died.
And all of a sudden they're looking excellent here. And Jacob, compared to last week, I mean, game 1 of Group 2 already much more exciting. Really showing you the caliber, right, of the roster here.
Yeah, I think people kind of were able to watch that group 1, a stacked lobby of sorts, and realizing how hard it was to actually get surge, and realizing that sometimes you're just going to have to go box to box,
They are
fight for
trying to
everything.
carry
As you see
the
one
enemy,
person going down, that's
got
Seneto,
shot.
who got separated from
But
the
they're
rest of
fine,
his
they are
team,
good,
caught off
so.
guard. Sparrow's here, Zockles is here as well. They find another
no match.
elimination, and they're getting all
No
this
match,
loot, or at least
right?
trying to, but you can see it wasn't much. It was every single team that was down on surge and needing resources. That's where they got those eliminations.
Always a tough spot to be in. Teams have options too to play through surge. No one deciding this time to wait it out, try to heal through it. Everyone wants to fight. There's a quick update now with Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold only sitting on 3 eliminations from the start of the game. Now things are starting to turn online. Cold managed to snipe one right through the box there, really stealing away eliminations here from other teams that are in a bit of a scramble right now, but it's going to be time to rotate here soon. See who's going to make the first move right now.
Yeah, they got that second down as well. Cold got one, Ritual got the other. Those 3 eliminations might have been risky with Peterbot going down early enough in the game, allowed them to make that rotation all the way around, safely
They're
enough so they
trying
can
to rotate
save
only,
resources,
just
save
base
materials,
it
and make
up
this part of the game,
and
but they're box to box.
Again, trying to find some enemy and try to kill them or try to absorb more damage on them. And after that, like they're trying to just win the game. But let's see. I think Peterborough, I don't know, like I don't know, but I think we have to wait till maybe 20 or 30 people remain. So
smart play. More unexperienced trios would have put a lot of investment into that high ground there, but I think the decision to play conservative is going to play out well now.
We're gonna win, so let's see.
We're going up.
Peterborough got damage.
High ground. We want a game 1 win. And it is starting to backfire onto them. Half of their material fully gone now, invested, if you will, here into the height, and they get potentially chopped down, but no, the seed there to keep their boxes up. Up come other trios as well. Yeah, quick think about Peterborough just trying to save the elevation that they have, and now they're going to have this line of sight. Every team, Void Mask is just a little bit too high. They're going to become a target by them. Ability to get pressure. You see in the distance, Booga, Aviv, and Threats threatening their high ground. They orb directly on over them and shut them down. This is exactly what you need to do in order to make sure that your second height has no chance of taking you down. This is a team that's playing it very well. This is what we expect them to do as well, and honestly, play to perfection to some degree. All the medals starting to come out now. You saw the Odin mask right there, right? Just in case they have to double back, he's got positioning there to go ahead and save the base if they need to. Cole looking for anything right now. He knows there's teams inside of the zone. It's Sphinx who's under focus. The first one to go down now. They can get him. They can actually get him. They go to the front side of the zone. They quickly box and tarped on over him. He's going to have a chance to get on up. So that Peter bot down on the Sphinx is only going to last for so long, especially with them momentarily getting contested, forced to turn around, making sure nobody ords on top of him. But that's a whole other player stuck in the wrong box. Cole takes him down. More resources for their end game. As he finds another elimination, Cole strikes again. It's just so well played. They box up the player's only void portal there before he even realizes he can take it. He's already in a world of trouble. You're watching the best at work right now here on NA. Can they keep the momentum going? So far, it's looking good. Cooper, Sphinx for deals. Somehow Sphinx is back in the game here. Even from the knob, no conversion happens. Aviv threats and Booga on the front side of the rotate right now. Pressure's on them, but Cooper, Sphinx, and Video seem like they have this all under control now. It almost even looked like he was setting up a pregame, but on the other side, two of Booga's teammates go down.
I think Peterborough, they're gonna win. Like they are going to win this game.
Cooper and Sphinx taking advantage of a weak trio down below. Well, don't forget, you still have Muzz, Japco, and Rise here.
I believe they are gonna win this game. So
what can they do? A refresh is in absolute need here. So many teams still left alive, but not a single one with room to work with here. As our high ground trio of Peterboro's team is putting it all down here. Neko has to do something big. Turns off the Rise. Rise jumps into the box. Neko with the beautiful tag there puts him in the game. That's one. No second on the follow-up because the pressure from Ritual is firing down now. But look, high ground starting to fizzle out here. Massive little light. When will they jump down? They just got to keep putting pressure. They see everybody scrambling over open waters, wasting a lot of material, trying to stay alive. But a quick peek back coming out from Cooper. He's able to get all that loot, get the elimination. That's valuable loot. Now they're trying to claim space. If Dio does it again, a big elimination. That's their 10th one of the game so far. He's just too good. But they are very, very hurt now.
he's doing great right now. Super is doing really great. Let's see. 3v3, maybe, I don't know. This is like a foreshadow of what we could potentially see later this month. Paul don't have any hit. And I don't know about Peterborough. They are also really weak. Peterborough down below, trying to find it out, trying to be the disruptor. Cooper scrambles around. Sphinx goes down. Video goes down. Cooper gets one, but it's just not enough. Yeah, Peterborough is going to win. And they did win, yes. He did win this camp. I have no words to say. Like, he's really great right now. Peterborough Fort is like really doing great in this tournament. So
Bro, we had so
He's
many
currently
of our juggernauts
in his
into the
prime
game.
stage,
We got
and
Luka and his trio. We had
like nobody can beat him
Cooper and his trio
in
all
this
fighting it out
prime
to the
stage.
end.
So
Talk
maybe
about it being
I
foreshadowed
think you'll
of
see
what
them.
we see
There will be
in
another
FNCS Major 1
kid.
finals, but it's cold. It's Peter
Who's gonna
Ball
be
and
out there?
Ritual. A little bit of a slow start. 3
Where is
eliminations.
Peter Ball right now?
That's exactly how they like to play it out.
But I don't
think
think so right
got
now.
saved there as well. But from Cole's perspective, man.
From you, I really like
eliminations
Mr.
really picking up
Stack.
that critical pickup right there. That's the refresh that gave him the fastest thing in the game. And then, of
He
course,
really
led
played
by
in
Ritual, the
what he-
IGL of that
what
team.
he, like,
In the end, though, Cooper Spinks video put up a great
Miss
fight. I
Cam.
thought it really could have gone their way. I mean, Cooper had the bit of high ground. He found the knock, but it wasn't enough. Victory round number 1 is going to go to Ritual, Cold, and Peter Ball. What a win. Let's get some words from our analysts.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is we just got to see the fight that we all want to see really, really bad and wish we could see every single game. But Peterbot Cold Ritual just decided, let's just win game 1, and now you're not gonna see us until Major 1 finals. Goodbye!
You know, I feel like that's exactly what we needed to see from that trio, though. Everyone was kind of wondering what happened in play-ins, but then we already knew that they just weren't putting in the effort that we saw from day 2. And that effort came back fourfold here in this first game, absolutely stomping the competition. And honestly, Vivid, it was a masterclass on how to hold high from this trio.
Super, super clean, right? That 9 zone pulled up the hill. They immediately all teleported up there. It kind of got that elevated position, just a couple of layers below the team that actually had the higher ground on that hill. And from there, it was all said and done. They got the higher ground. They were able to get eliminations, hold onto it, and clutch up the 3v3 against the other strong team in the lobby, right? Like, this was just perfect.
To me, what really impressed me was how they were able to save all of their mats, making sure that they were just TPing from one height to another, being able to just be able to control that, because when you see these teams take high ground a little early, they run out of mats, they become a lot more vulnerable, but that was not the case for Peterbot Cold and Ritual. Coming down here, it looked like there was a moment where it could have been Vidal and Cooper's game, but of course, it goes to the way of Peterbot.
It was close. It was close. Unfortunately for us, that means we will not be seeing this interaction again until likely Major 1 finals, but that is okay. Peterbot secures himself their spot. But for now, we have to go to a break. When we return, though, we're breaking down more of what we saw, more trios, more action, and of course, set ourselves up for game number 2. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, wait. 3 minutes, guys. Let's wait for 3 minutes again. Then let's wait for 3 minutes. Then after that, we're gonna again see how the game plays.
everybody? Welcome back to the FNCS game number 1. Yeah, Peterbot jumped again. Yep, he got himself a victory royale. It's fine. We won't be seeing Peterbot Cold or Ritual until Major 1 Finals, which is definitely a bummer for us. But for them, it's great. It's for them. They just look forward to finals, and that's where their minds will start to prepare for. But what happened in game number 1? Well, I just want to kind of take a step back. Cooper, Sphinx, Badil. We got the 1v1, Kelly, that we want, you know, out of a Major 1 Finals. And unfortunately, he did not go Badil's way, but to see it kind of come to, especially in just game number 1, just beautiful, just beautiful.
Honestly, I think they're incredibly proud of themselves, not only being able to kind of hold their own against the strongest trio in the region, but to like potentially steal away that first victory royale from them. Badil, Cooper, and Sphinx played the mid-ground so well. They were really aggressive, really smart when to peek out and take a lot of this loot that we're even watching right here. So they were constantly just fully stacked up. Even when Sphinx was down, they were so synergized that they were able to bring him back up as if he was never knocked.
Yeah, I mean, it was still an incredible game, just like you said. And the thing that I kind of want to highlight here is actually the positioning, right? We saw Badil, Sphinx, and Cooper pretty much playing that low ground front side that I think is just super, super good at trios. And when you have a mechanical team like this that can find those solos that are kind of running around trying to avoid all of these shots, and they're able to just box them up very, very quickly, right? It just leads to more eliminations, more mats. They can keep themselves very, very healthy. Love the low ground play style when it comes to trios, and I think they played it very, very well right there. You just had so much domination on the low ground. That's why they had such a good performance.
Yeah.
And I love, too, that Peterbot, right, when they're up on the high ground, they're kind of pushing everyone else on that mid-ground down, right? And that's what Cooper, Sphinx, and Badil want. They want more opportunities to find frags, to find refreshes, rather. And that's exactly what they got. Now, again, Peterbot, we won't be seeing them again, so I'm curious to see how this kind of unfolds without them in the lobby. But another trio that did really well, Yapko, Rise, and Muzz, we highlighted them at the top of the show. And they did come out with a pretty strong showing, but we still have 4 more games to go, so I'm kind of curious to see as well, without this Peterbot looming, what can these guys do? What kind of things can they bring, or maybe even force the lobby to do?
I mean, it definitely opens up more opportunities having the strongest team get out immediately in game number 1 here. But I don't think Rise, Muzz, and Yapko are going to play too differently than what we saw from game 1. Muzz did go down a little early here, but honestly, they were playing it really well, even down a player. Yapko and Rise kind of sticking to the low ground, and again, doing what we saw strategy from Badil and Cooper, sticking to that low middle ground, peeking out and grabbing these eliminations for the refreshes.
Yeah, I think where they kind of got caught up there is that point that kind of Zeke made, right? Peterbot, Cold, Ritual, they're on the high ground. They're pushing the entire lobby as close to the same layer as they possibly can. And Muzz, Yapko, and Rise, they were kind of that big name team that found themselves in the mid ground. They didn't have that low ground because Badil's team had it. They didn't have the high ground because Peterbot's team had it. But they found themselves in that mid ground. Just too much pressure from high ground for them to kind of handle. It lost the rotate going into the moving zone right there, and that's kind of where they fell behind. But still, very good game for them at 5th place.
Yeah, okay, so we still have 4 more games to go, right? So how do we see this going? Do we just kind of start going down the list like, okay, all right, Cooper, Sphinx, Badil, you guys get game number 2. All right, Rise, Yapko, you guys want game number 3. Blue, you guys want game number 4. Like, what's about to happen?
It'll be interesting to see if what we saw from Group 1, where the first team won, the POI became opened, and then we had 3 separate trios try and land over there. And this is now Flooded Frogs, arguably the strongest POI in the game. So we might see some new trios try and hop over there.
Definitely worth waiting for. It's always kind of important to note that, you know, since the winning team is not a part of the early game anymore, that opens up that, but we're also not a part of the end game anymore. And whenever that kind of happens with Peterbot in the lobby, higher ground seems to open up a lot too. So I guess the question for me is going to be, who's going for heights?
Interesting. Okay, I like it. Lots to kind of marinate on here, so why don't we get right back into the action. Monster G face Jacob PR, over to you.
Game 2 coming up right now, Monster, and it's already proven to be an exciting one. And if you think back to what Vivid said before the show during the pregame, that it was the top 4 teams in that consistency that were able to remain inside of that consistency and earn their spot in the finals. So now, I think when it comes to consistency, the game has actually started.
Yeah, there's a reason they were highlighted. We had to talk about them. And again, why Group 2 we knew in particular was going to be nothing but fireworks, right? Truly an explosive game right there. Love to see what we saw from Vidal in Trio, though. That was the, again, crack of greatness coming through, right? And again, this is setting us up for the finals where, let's be honest, they're going to make it at this rate with how many points they're earning. And a team like that can have so many points. They're going to be hard to beat. They could give our number one teams a run. So let's jump into game number 2 now. First place on that consistency leaderboard, 87 points. And if the games were to end now, I know it's not allowed, but 48 points. There's already a 6-point spread between making it in through consistency and missing out and having to go through the last chance qualifier. That's something I'm going to be keeping my eye on as we go into game 5 at the end of the day. Yeah, let's be honest, last chance qualifier is not a position anyone wants to be in. Anyone can queue up. It's going to be absolutely chaotic, right? Anything can happen. Why leave it up to that? You really do need to make it out of these stages if you want a chance at finals. Otherwise, it's going to be all in the air. But for now, we got to make it off drop, right? The Tinkle Terrace, of course, was one of the faster fights that played out last game. Seems like Dave's team's in the lead once again here, catching Plasmafy, and Dave's got seemingly wind of the team in front of him or the player here, and ooh, quick reactions there. Ends up keeping him in the game for now, and it's the first trade though. That's a big shot right there, but I like Dave's confidence, not truly backing down, knowing he has help on the way, and he still fires yet another great shot, and it's him who got the knock. Valuable HP coming out from the Siphon to keep things fully in their control as they go ahead and converge on this 3v1 situation. Yeah, allows them to keep that momentum up right now. CR is gonna just hunt down Vedis here if they can find him. You know, he's nearby, moving pretty quickly. Glow makes it look easy, and just like that, they put the numbers on the board once again here for the drop. This is excellent work for them right now, and it may not be a lot of damage, but it's plenty to get your game started now. Talk about that. Looks like Dojo and Jack are pushing back this time around here. Over towards Demons Jojo. We didn't get to see the beginning of this fight in game number 1, but you see how spread out everyone actually is. Just trying to take basically pop shots at each other to try to get the knocks, the downs that they need, but it does look like an opportunity at a free revive on that other side. Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and seem to settle down now. This team's going to bounce back here. Let's take a look at it from a different perspective. Max Cirque from down low, he gets the knock there, and that makes sense as to why he didn't get to fully push there. But notice, they're taking that as an opportunity to get away, right? They really don't want to commit at this point. It's okay to know things are not going your way, but look at this. Flooded Frogs, right? Team wins. Peterbot no longer has to queue into this game now. We're Cold and Ritual, and a new team moves on in. Last week, we saw multiple teams decide to take the open POI. This time, it seems like Strike, Sparkly, and I can here get a little lucky. Yeah, and I feel like they really have to take use of this position being uncontested, because as the games go on, other teams are going to realize, hey, it's only one team over there. It's not Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. I could possibly win the fight, and that's where things get more and more dangerous. We move on over towards Mass Metal, Vidal, Sphinx Cooper, uncontested. They command so much respect around them. And like last game, the zone went over towards the south. They didn't have to do a ton of risky rotations in order to get there. A lot of their surge came to them. So I'm wondering if the zone goes to the north, how different will their game be? Really cool to see the stats supporting the Vidal's team as well. Alongside Cooper there, but Possess, Diego, Ralphie right now, high ground, full control here of the Shogun Solitude from what we can see so far. But they are running a little light on material, so you can see the pressures of a drawn-out fight starting to weigh in on the inventory right now. It's about the worst spot you honestly want to be in right here. You want to finish this fight up and move along, or you know, you're kind of griefing yourselves out. So both teams here have to pull the trigger. Yeah, and I think they learned from game 1, disengaging might not necessarily be the best option. Yes, you're going to be able to stay alive, but everybody is scavenging drops all around these split drops, named POIs, so there's not going to be very much loot left. In fact, in game 1, they had almost nothing for a good portion of the game because of that rotation. So now they're saying, hey, with only 36 points, I'm going to have to risk it just a little bit more to try to make a play, win this fight, and get all the loot to ourselves. Especially, you can see they're just at the edge of zone, so they won't have very many hard rotations from here on out. That's what happens when you see a team that can play well defensively. Things start to drag out a bit. Diego knows the clock is ticking. He's been in these spots before. He knows how to clutch up and win these types of early contested battles, but gotta really put emphasis on the fact that you just sit around. I mean, it's not gonna go well in the long run right now. Jurassic, FX9, and Maniac here, of course, have a lot more to lose here, given that one game's already out the window, right? They need points. They have to put themselves on the board here. Meanwhile, Possessed Robbie Diego at 36 are sitting very, very decently on the overall position in this tournament. Jumping back to Yuma's trio, this is a team that did very well, but unfortunately fell to the surge in that mid-game there. Couldn't even take down the boss, right, with how much pressure they had on them, so this is an important fight here.
Yeah, which is kind of unfortunate in its own mind, because the boss gives even more heals. It's just they couldn't risk the damage the boss could potentially kind of push on out. And I like the different approach that they're trying to take to this game. Have an isolated fight near the edge of the map. That way or at least lessens the chance of a third party coming in to try to cause a little bit more confusion. And if you look at the positioning right now, all elevated above that trio down below, even if they don't get the eliminations, I feel like they can at least get some damage.
Take a look at this little sneaky play here from Jocko. He's getting ever so close right now. He's got wind on the player down low on foot. No opening just yet though. Patience is going to be important here. You can see his team in the distance is keeping this team busy right now. Oh, these are some risky builds. There's Jixie catches him right there. Okay, so unfortunately the lurk does get called out. Smart play, they, to know this, right? Say, hold up, there's someone not in this other team fighting back right now, so he was just watching the flank there. It ends up working out.
And listen, 100% of the shots you don't take, Yapko's just trying to create an opportunity for them to not only get free surge, but potentially get those eliminations. The two on-board Booga, Aviv, and Threats making it far into that last game. Just unfortunately not really able to put up eliminations. I think it was 10th place with 3 elims. So really kind of missing the mark just a little bit. But in terms of consistency, right now they're only down 12 points. So this is a good opportunity here in game 2, especially with the zone hovering over in their direction to get some early surge so that way they can try to move up the leaderboard.
That's right, you can see the use of the Connect Blade, of course, coming in handy there too. Speeding things up. It's a great spot to have high ground as well. They should have plenty of opportunity here to continue to fish for tags. In game 1, we didn't really see them have any problem with Storm Surge at all, so their strategy seemingly sound so far. Meanwhile, back with Cam and Bacon playing something very similar, albeit they're playing very different angles. So this is full coverage here on their outer zone, but the zone is actually going to work against their positioning right now. Bacon has the best spot so far on the team. Let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, it almost makes you wonder how they're even getting here as fast as they actually are, because they land at pumped power. Usually it's the Brutal Boxcars team, because of the loot that's spread out on that mountain, that gets it to themselves, they're able to set up. So I can only imagine maybe it's the contested fight or the need for metal down below that's kind of given up very, very good positioning. And you can see a lot of these players towards the east. You got a zone that's almost like last game, but instead it has a little bit more of a north-center pull to it, but it is going to go all the way towards the eastern side this time.
GFX crash out on the move right now, but Zerxmir and Sloth in the fight right now inside the storm here. Oh, and it's again against Hagio, Takasito, Yuma, still waiting this one out here. And this is a sign of, lessons learned, let's call it, from game number 1. But Yuma's down and out, so desperation still lingering on top of this team here. Clearly they haven't did enough. For all we know, Sloth's team could be sitting on a reboot card here. There's really questionable to wait, so it does make me wonder. I feel like this team's holding them out.
And we see Takasito has a ton of heals to stay in the zone. 2 medkits down below. That's at least on 1 player, so you got to imagine they could stay here pretty long, especially with the zone as of now not too far away. But depending on how far to the north it actually did pull. Staying in this position longer and longer, especially since we saw it towards the start of the game, there's not going to be a lot of resources on them, and I feel like there's not going to be a lot of resources rotating their way in either.
The Zest trio now has eyes on them too, so
A little worse for wear there. Top back to the terrace. Fred, Liam, and Nut right now. A bit of a standoff. 4 trios in the vicinity here, so things are getting a bit messy as the zone continues to pull further and further along now. Here's a team that's had a bit of a rough game 1. Seems like another rough early game for them so far. A lot of material invested here. This is why they're going to look to dip out, try to get what they can to replenish up the reserves here, and bounce their way back into their base. Oof. The risk you take, trying to farm up as much as possible. And a whole nother trio is just coming down towards Fredbot that he needs to watch out for, especially considering he is separate just a little bit farther than I would like him to be from his teammates. But you see a Void Orb will fix that in an instant. That's the best thing to watch play out there. Knowing your distance, especially with the changes. DayCR Glow on the hunt right now, up to 5 eliminations now. The early game was quick, and it seems like they picked up some more teams on the way. And now they're bouncing up the material count here, really getting ready for this mid-game right now.
And their rotation as well, I think, just west of Night Shift Forest. And Night Shift Forest is that the purple trees you see in the minimap just to their left, so they quickly beelined it over towards this side of the map after getting those eliminations. They're trying to, I feel like, focus just a little bit on their rotation, knowing that a few more teams are going to have to rotate in their direction if they do need just a little bit more surge. As we move on over towards Seaport City, not too far away from where Muzz, Yapko, and Rise actually do land. You see, they get a lot of metal, they're just trying to scavenge whatever loot they do have left. But take note of what Muzz actually has in his inventory. No mass, he's actually using the kinetic blade. Sometimes you gotta take what you can get.
Yeah.
The big thing is the fishing rod. You have about a 50% chance to
Oh,
pull
I
a shield fish out of the
think this
water.
game, let's
So as
see
long as him and his
who's
trio
gonna
are
win this
positioned
game.
anywhere near even a little bit of water's at, they can instantly get a lot of their resources and shields back.
We've heard from plenty of the top teams, they will literally base their strategy around the fishing rod if they have it. It opens up so much option when it comes down to actually playing some low ground positions where otherwise you would never want to really find yourself in. Talk about fishing spots, hold up. Get to get on over to the west coast here a bit. Liam, Fred, Nut, despite carries on out from the storm. And now they've waited long overdue here. Is it worth it? They get some eliminations right now. I mean, they get to get some material, but the punishment is already done here. You can see Hami Marabi looking back. Is there more teams pushing in? I think there's another team here in the shots. Like, you know what? We want to fight too. It's like, but wait, there's more. As 2 more teams on the outside have a little bit of a scuffle as it's Veer, Scare, and Sinetto moving up towards the island this time around. And already by the sounds of it, it looks like they're not going to let that medallion go to waste. I'm a big fan of Sinetto. Seen a lot of good things come out of him and his overall performances here as well. They've continued to just find themselves in these settings, and it seems like with every major qualification and finals appearance, they have found themselves improving. Should be quick work of the boss here to take them down, get the rewards, find that, of course, the invisibility sprint, right?
Yep.
To pick up from this, so it's a huge upgrade for endgames for sure.
Sneak up on teams. Even if you have height, you allow that player to drop down, sneak up on people. That's how you kind of replenish the resources. And if you look, they already have 2 eliminations. So unlike the last trio that was up here in game number 1, they're making sure to stay ahead of the Surge game. So that way, it's not going to be as hard for them to get. And an extra blessing on top of that is the island is towards the north side of the zone. So all those teams that are slow and late to rotate in, those are the ones they're going to be aiming for.
Yeah, talk about teams just having to work what they got. Smash, Snaps, and Richie here. Smaz, of course, has this Void Oni mask, but one of his teammates has a Typhoon Blade, so he's kind of trailing behind, and it's cost them a lot of material here, but finally find themselves in the safe zone now. We talked about the fishing rod coming into handy. Their goal is to get down to that river, get to fishing, find yourself some shieldfish for endgame. Meanwhile, back into the zone. This fight has gotten even messier now, as Liam was picked up once again, so little deja vu from game 1, except this time he's still alive and fighting alongside his team here. Yeah, they followed them all the way over to that reboot. It was Nico who was down originally, separated from that trio. They moved all the way back there in hopes that nobody would follow them this deep into the zone to try to get the reboot, try to get their teammate back. But unfortunately enough, Fredbot, Liam, and Nut just kind of followed them through and through. It does look like they can probably leave Zavi alive, but Zavi with no HP, no bandages, medkits, nothing. This is going to be a heroic effort for him to try to stay alive. He has to get those reboots, so hopefully they can try to chain those reses. Yeah, I think they're going to allow him to do it as well. This all seems like a part of their big plan here. Like, you know what? Even below, let's get to the safe zone. We'll just res him. We'll take some more points out of that team, potentially. For Booga, Threats, and Aviv right now, though, they're on the move here. They found themselves out-positioned as far as the overall zone is concerned, but this elimination right here is going to be a big one. Not only for the damage, but look at the pickups here. A full replenish, a void only mask for their troubles, and potentially even a blade to go with it, should they choose, but no. It's how to get to safety here. The difference to the material count here compared to the other teams we've seen getting into these early game fights, this one much more under their control, right? So they had to have found that trio well out of position there. Yeah, and it takes a drastic pull to the west side of the map overall. They're going to have ample opportunities to continue to get damage. But this is literally what started it all. It's like an ant down there. They're able to see them. 3, 2, 1, the full trio gets the knock, and with the Kinetic Blade, they're able to close the distance very, very quickly. And that gave them an opportunity. You saw from Kinetic Blade to the Void Mask, that's a huge upgrade, especially for this portion of the game. Definitely noticed that quick swap out there, and he didn't even want to use the charges to get back in. He said, taking my mats with me, keeping my charges for in-game. Bacon, Macwood, and Cam, a very experienced team, but they are below the surge here. Really shows you that no one is safe from being active, having to find activity, most importantly, be accurate. Even with this high ground, even with this great spot here, all the teams we could see on the map, but no opportunities now. Just out of the positioning here to find their tags. They're not even technically in zone yet, so they're going to have to rotate their way in. But they have the 3 medkits. They're hoping for these late rotates just like that. Smots is going to go down. His duo is forced to leave him out. That's going to help him just a little bit for Surge. But you can see 51 to 61 instantly falling down below yet again. And that just goes to show how active the lobby actually is right now. Yeah, and I like the idea there, though. Bacon looking up to the high ground team, sees the Void Oni mask coming up. He's going to go up. He's going to leave his team down low. Acts of desperation really starting to kick in now. Even Cam and Macwood, they can't dive on the team down low to take a box fight. They're way too spread out now. It's going to come down to whether or not they can pierce through these builds here. It seems like it works out as someone found damage across the trios. Bacon comes back here now. Options are going to begin to open up for them if they want to jump on top of Summit. Rafiki and Cirque here. Void only mask for this team, though. This is going to open up another chance for them to find some tags. That almost looked like somebody was trying to rotate with the Typhoon Blade. Sometimes you just got to single out the solo. But as of now, it looks like he's going to make that rotation unscathed, but they have more to go. It did look like there was a knock towards the backside on Bacon and his trio. A risk that they have to make, especially with where they're at on that Storm Surge leaderboard. But even if you're not all the way in, you have the pressure, the luxury of being able to force teams out. But Cam is weak. Maxdom sees it. He's trying to Typhoon Blade his way in. Just hearing that gives me a little bit of scare. He's going in on the Macwood. Big shot there. He lands that first blade. He's continuously causing chaos and a little bit of confusion, but it's also confusing him. He takes a big shot, and he's just stuck down low into the mud. It really shows you how strong it is here. He can just rip through all the metal here. Bacon, though, finally gets things under his control, and they get punished for it. The Siphon starts to kick in here. That's going to keep him very much healthy and alive now, but he will have to make a move here. No pressure, though. He wants the full Oni mask there. Great pickup for him. Macwood even waits behind for his teammate, too. They don't want to be too far apart. Now come the rotates here. Bacon forced to stay in the zone, though. Uh-oh. The next storm is going to really start to do some big damage here. He's got to get moving. Yeah, it's going to be a 5-tick right now. Luckily, he does have that Void mask, so he can easily make his way in. Try to reunite with his teammates. But he does have some competition along the way, and I even saw Macwood go down, so it's only going to be him and Cam. And if you look at Cam's HP, if you look at Cam's shield, it's virtually nothing. Oh, look at this. Bacon doesn't even want to give his teammate the medkit. He's like, you can have the shield, bitch. I'm going to cap my HP off. Probably better to have swapped the two. But it is what it is now.
Bacon, he's healthy here and ready for endgame.
Yeah, in their mind right now, if they would have tried to switch it up, give Cam the mech hit, they both would have been one pumpable. So they're trying to at least give Bacon the opportunity, if things continue to go wrong with Cam, to survive. As Booga, Aviv, threats, we talked about no Titans here in this lobby in the form of Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual. That opens up the opportunity for this here, but 7th Zone Monster, it might be just a little bit too early to try to hold on to it.
And this is what we talked about. Teams get a little excited and commit a lot. Granted, this is, of course, on this natural elevation here, so seems a little bit more committed than one may think at first glance, but the Warriors' watch is no secret to surprise here. Fadil, Sphinx, and Cooper, material count looking pretty decent, but they could use a refresh, too, to really set them up for endgame here. But I like it. Calm, cool, collected right now. We saw what they did last game. Running things on the low ground. If they're going to be that good, that consistent on the low, I mean, I'm looking forward to finals at this rate.
Yeah, it's not until top 17 placement points even begin to start getting awarded. 2 more teams need to go down for that to even be the case. Muzz, Rise, Yapko. For a moment there, they thought they saw something that would allow them just to be a little bit more aggressive, but hearing all the action go around, probably second guess, saying, hey, it just might be a little bit too risky. Let's wait the seconds out. Let's let zone close, figure out where we have to rotate next. And if you look at the mini-map, 90% of the lobby is all stacked at the south portion of the zone with a fall pull to make as the next zone is revealed.
Muzz, Rise, and Japko want to be the first to make the move here. They're all the way in the back. No reason for them to wait. They have the damage, but
I'm just
probably
confused
a
right now.
little bit
I don't know which
more activity. Booga threats and Aviv
win this
also with the
game.
early rotates here. Sphinx, Cooper,
player is
Reveal,
going
you
to
can
win.
see have jumped their way to the front as well. All the teams know better than to stay behind. We're making the first move right now.
Watching,
Really start
guys, is-
controlling the
You
low
guys are
ground
watching. Let's
and
see
looking for
what
the
happens.
refresh. Meanwhile, Bacon, how is he still up? Talked about how he traded off that health, but the Surge has continued to punish him, and off the lobby he goes now.
Yeah, as soon as he went to peek to try to do some shots, he just kind of got tagged up, and with the Storm Surge and a little bit of health he got left, he's immediately going to go down. Muzz, Rise, Yapko trying to take advantage of any weak teams that are around him, and you know as well as I do, this late in the game, building in wood is a huge sign of weakness, and that's what Muzz, Rise, and Yapko were targeting.
Take a look at this, though. No eliminations for this team, no points earned just yet until these placements start to roll in. Yapko, Muzz, and Rise have committed all this time to this game. What can they do with it now? Victor B, Skittles, Champ in the running as well. Once again, another end game here. What can they do?
2 eliminations so far. They're well above the threshold in Storm Surge as well, so that's not going to be a worry for them. That's from zone to zone, 7th zone on. Booga, Aviv, threats the
right
team
now.
to try to hold their position, utilizing a lot of those resources they're able to get from
I
the
think
eliminations
Cooper,
early on to try to
Cooper and
maintain their
Spin
position.
and
Cooper, Sphinx,
Fadil.
Fadil just trying to target weak
They are
players
going
on
to
the
win this
outside.
game.
There's probably
Just
one player
survived
that
it
looks
like
a solo. He's trying to
top
reunite
20,
with his duo
maybe
to try to
top
hold the
15 or
walls,
top 10
especially
like
with the
that.
zone
Yeah,
pooling
let's see.
in Cooper, Sphinx, and Fadil's favor. They know that team's going to have to eventually rotate into them.
And notice, every time we tune in with the team, look at all the space that they control. This is the presence that they're demanding in the low ground. This is why they're taking early rotates, they're pressuring teams back off of them, and it really is paying off. Meanwhile, V, Booga, and Threats have continued to try to jockey for high ground and commit a lot of material, but they just get broken down, and now you can see it really weighing in on the material count here. Threats is not looking too hot here. He's going to have to get a split and possibly a refresh down from the teams down low. Booga's looking for anything right now, and they're spread off in different directions, so a bit of a, I'd say, a lot going on here for this team right now, and I'm not sure they have it under control just yet.
Yeah, Threats is putting a lot of trust in his teammates. You talked about the builds. It's Vive and Booga that have what little bit they really do have left, and they're maintaining their position above, but eventually somebody's going to have to drop down. They're looking at the backside of the zone, the front, trying to target anybody that they can. Even teams like Cooper, Fadil, and Sphinx down below, but that's a team you have to be very, very wary of fighting, even if you get a knock, because they have all the resources down below. Now Chimp's feeling the pressure. He might be by himself, but his teammates
He's trying to win this game. Let's see.
they try to scramble out as they get chopped down yet again.
But Cooper, Sphinx, and Reveal still on the move right now. Front side of the zone they go. They're sitting comfortable. Meanwhile, high ground has you. Teams up top. So Booga, Aviv, and Threats forced down to the bottom here. Can they find any sets of massive eliminations. They're out of material. They've committed too much. Victor V, Chip, and Skittle is going to be the trio out. 4 grabs here, but nothing comes from it just yet. Meanwhile, Threats finds another team, Sphinx, on the side here. Ziggy's trio on the other side. But no, they are crumbling now under the bad call to try to overcommit for Hyde, and it's all up to Booga now. At least he was able to get the elimination, so a little bit of HP is going to start to tick back up as Vidil found one as well. He's trying to move his way back in towards the zone, reunite with his teammates. There's a huge strength in numbers, especially with how destructive this lobby has been so far. Teams missing 1-2 players at a time. But there's another team down below, a strong duo. That's Fred. His team match to match, box to box with Yapko, Muzz, and Rise as well. Everybody's down below. You can see almost everybody is out of materials. Oh, yeah, look at this. This is a tough spot to be in. The split comes out. Okay, here, take 2 mats. What can you do with that? Try to stay alive. Meanwhile, Glow ends up getting taken out. CR is going to get the trade there, the exchange. He goes for high ground. Okay, it's all out scramble for Hyde now. They barely have any mats, but Veer is fully committed here with Day and CR from contested drop to high ground hold in the end game, but everyone is looking worse for wears. Meanwhile, Day taken out the sky before they can land by Muzz, Japco, and Rise, and the loot comes falling down. It's all veterans alive here. Yeah, they're going to try to take that zip line up there for a moment, destroy some builds, but they're not going to commit. They find that down below. 3v3 situation, and these are the 2 Titan teams we're talking about, especially with this opportunity. Win and you're in. But Yapko, Muzz, Rise, they have the elevation advantage in this fight. I like what I'm looking at right now, though. Vidil, Cooper, Sphinx. I think the mistake from the high ground team was letting them reload, heal up, and get situated, because Vidil is lurking, looking for a chance now, but we know how fast Muzz is. We know how dangerous this team can be, but Jacko's gonna first just take a swing. He finds Vidil. Now it's a 3v2. Sphinx goes up. One at a time. They're starting to fall now. This is it, a big moment. Cooper's even trying to go ahead and toss a wrench in the mix, confuse things up a little bit, but it's just not enough. Muzz, Rise, Yapko, they seal the deal. 9 eliminations. Welcome to the Major 1 Finals. Another team wins and sends their way straight through to the finals. Impressive performance in the end there, though, for Sphinx, Vidil, and Cooper, who find themselves in another standoff against the teams here on the NA region. You'll love to see it, but hey, we expected Muzz, Rise, and Japco to play well. A win, though, this early, I think will come as a surprise to most. Let's take a look at the highlights really quickly here and how it played out. Japco, Muzz, and Rise just had things on lock. It seems like total control, especially after finding this refresh right here. Yeah, and you can see the pre-edit play. That's what it was. Catch them off guard. Dave's trying to play safe, but simply not enough. And because of their control from zone to zone, overtaking Booga, Aviv, and Threads, they basically had this one in the bag. No amount of clutches coming out of Cooper would have been enough. That's going to be it. We already seen our second team advance to the Major 1 Finals. But I got to ask our analysts, what did you guys think about that game?
See, this is why I write the scripts the way I do. See, it's like a 1, and then it's like a 2, and then a 3, and then a 4. And this time, Muzz, Rise, Yapko, they're in that second one, so that means you can predict it. You can see what's coming. You don't need to show you the script, it's fine. In all seriousness, though, to see these guys win in this way, again, it's like you just remove the Peterbot factor, and then you're like, okay, what big names are left? Which one of them is gonna win?
Yeah, and kind of having a repeat of what we saw in game 1, where it was, Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx going up against that high ground team, but Muzz, Yapko, Rise, absolutely playing out of their mind. Whoever decided to give Muzz, what was that, 2 mythics towards the end there? I know that they found some floor loot. That's, again, part of the reason why staying on the low and mid ground is so important. Being really smart, waiting until the final moments really to get onto that high ground, and we saw high ground kind of switch hands a few times there. But even with the low max that they had, it didn't matter in the end.
Yeah, I love the fact that you kind of pointed that out, Zeke, right? The effect of having a lobby without Peterbot. And we saw that kind of firsthand right here in multiple ways, specifically the high ground, right? We saw Booga, Threads, Aviv on it initially, and ended up switching like 4 times after that. But Muzz, Yapko, and Rise actually found them in the same position they were in game number 1. They were on the backside of that moving zone. They had 0 materials. If Peterbot, or any team for that matter, was up on the high ground, had it controlled, they would have easily sprayed them out, pressured them out, because they had 0 materials. But because high ground was flip-flopping, nobody was really able to apply that pressure, gave them the time to kind of recover. They were able to take high ground, win the game.
That is so wild. We will be breaking down more of what we saw out of game number 2 after this short break. When we return, more FNCS after this. What's going on, FORTNITE fam? Welcome back to the FNCS. Game number 2 goes the way of Muzz, Rise, and Yapko, which means yet another big Titan trio on the Major 1 Finals, which means the rest of the lobby can breathe for just a little bit longer. With only 3 games left to go, I'm kind of curious to see how things unfold. But again, just doubling back to see this trio kind of win. There's so much experience on this trio. It was actually like during the game, there was like a highlight little thing that came out that said there's 3 different titles on just this one team, 2 from OC, 1 from NA, right? So to see them kind of get this victory out, I'm not like surprised, Kelly. I'm happy, but I'm not like surprised.
Well, especially when all 3 of those titles are belonging to Muzz there. And of course, Yapko and Rise have, you know, enough accolades in their own right. But yeah, Muzz absolutely just destroyed that game. And to wait till the final moments to be able to take high really shows just the benefits from it there. But my eyes immediately go to Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx getting 2nd place twice now. I can't imagine it happening a 3rd time again, Vivid.
I mean, I actually can imagine that. I think that Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx are looking insanely good right now. I mean, maybe you guys are kind of arguing that, oh, they're just going to win the next game, but I think that they're just getting everything that they want in both of those games. I mean, they're positioning the front side, low ground. They immediately go ahead and take it. Nobody's really contesting them. They're just winning fights over and over and over again. It's a very momentum-based playstyle because actually, in game number 1, this trio had the most builds placed out of any trio by like a far margin, right? So they're immediately getting all of these refreshes, just placing all of those builds, which is why I kind of bring up that momentum-based play style. They get the refresh, they immediately go ahead, claim more space on the front side of Blow, boom, use that space to fight, find more eliminations. This team is looking super, super clean. The fact that both games 1 and game 2 went pretty much the exact same way means that they know their game plan, they can stick to it, and they do it very, very well.
I definitely also think that, you know, as far as preparation for the major finals in a week now, being able to get this practice and being able to go up against several high ground teams, being able to kind of like perfect their strategy is only going to be a benefit to them.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? Because you'd argue, well, we want to just qualify and just go straight through the Major 1 finals right now. Think about it, but there is almost this kind of like, well, if we don't necessarily get the win, we can continue to practice the strategy, right? We can kind of see, well, oh my gosh, well, there might be these contested situations or whatever that might send us for a loop. How do we deal with that? And game to game, the fact, like you're saying, they come twice or second twice. That's like a consistency, like really, really powerful. So I'm curious, will they get a victory out? Will they continue to just put out that consistency? We'll have to see. Another duel is trio, to talk about. 7th place, Aviv, Booga, and Threats. For a moment there, we saw they had height and then immediately get chopped and get forced down to the low ground. I mean, they basically had to burn everything to try and make this happen and recover. But, I mean, again, given that we're starting to release some of this pressure with 2 big Titan trios out, I'm expecting a victory out from them at some point, right?
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I mean, look at the tower that they built in Zone 7. That's not something typically we see. They weren't necessarily low on Storm Surge, but as we can see them here, still holding high ground. They are not getting enough damage to be able to confidently hold it. They're running out of mats, and they did have the high ground stolen from them. Although I will give them credit where credit's due. They were able to kind of recover from being chopped. They were able to take height again, and then once attacked, they were able to transition into the low ground. It didn't exactly go the way that they wanted, but it could have been a worse situation.
Yeah, I mean, taking that initial height, like you mentioned, building that giant tower up in 7th zone, it's all about how many mats you have when you actually do that, if you want to go on and carry the high ground for the rest of the game. If you have enough materials to do it, especially in a Trios game mode, it's usually pretty easy to do. But as you can see there, their material count was going down from 7th to 10th zone, right? The material count went down to almost 0. The limb count did not go up at all. They did not find any refreshes, which is kind of like that trap that we see sometimes in the FNCS. Teams take high ground maybe a little bit too early, and they can't finish the game because they never find any refreshes.
That's something to think about for sure. With only 3 games left to go, really quickly, what do we need to do, right? This is it. We need a victory out. We need to end top 5 in consistency. Kelly, just one tip. Let us know.
Get eliminations.
There it is. Get eliminations.
Beautiful stuff. Well, let's go see if we can find eliminations with our casters. MVF, Jacob PR, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're getting into the deep end now. A couple of chances left here. The standings are really starting to take shape. Scare, Veer, and Sonetto might just be seeing their way straight to finals off the consistency they're finding at their drop-in. I mean, ultimately, Jacob, another drop now opens up here.
Yeah, and you always think about last week, that 205-point mark that C's kind of set in that 10th place. So dropping spots, switching up rotations. You have at least a goal to look at with that 205 points. And as of right now, you look at Vadil, Cooper, and Sphinx, 162 points. I feel like they could all but qualify in this next game, even if they don't win. And I think that's what our analysts are really talking about. Even with opened up drop spots, it's them who are staying the most consistent.
Yeah, the difference, though, is the big names here in Group 2 are the ones taking the wins so far, right? Group 1 was left up to newer teams coming up, snatching those victory royales in the end. So the point threshold was really high. But let's see here now. It's game number 3 starting up. All right, Jacob, game number 3 of Group 2 is underway now, and I think I made a point there, right? The big teams are punching their way out of the lobby, so what is going to be the point threshold? Will it be as high as Week 1's Group 1, or will it be a little bit more competitive? We'll just have to find out.
Yep, and just kind of looking at that map, and I'm just looking at flooded frogs. We know one team went over there, Shatterspan, now it just opened up. Another team going up over there. Even with 2 drop spots opened up, these guys are like, you know what? There's Twinkle Terrace. There's a lot of drop spots on this map, but Twinkle Terrace is mine.
Yeah, well, look, Low CR and Day have been the ones that are performing the best here. Obviously, they're very, very consistent. They seem to have figured it out. Then it's Zach and Plasmafy. I think this is the longest we've seen them all three alive in a game yet. But I saw a big elimination in the feed there, or potential knock there on the Sphinx. I wonder what happened as he was taking flight to the drop. So we're going to start jumping around here shortly.
Her face Joji Aaron. Contested this time, 24 points. Kind of contested fight they've been managing in these past 2 games so far. They have a little bit of elevation. Oni that can do so much damage from far away, but you have to be careful if you're Joji. That's why I like he's reloading, because you only have 2 shots. You miss that first one, you basically miss the opportunity to get the elimination.
Yeah, this weapon feels really good. The shot feels great, and then you just have no bullets. So it's one of those ones that is not exactly a favorite amongst the pros. Joji, big punishment comes in though. Can he get the full finish here to start the heals going from the siphon? Seems like that player slips away, so it's up to Nerdface to try to do what he can do. He's on the hunt now, trailing behind Aaron. Perks is the one sandwiched here. Aaron's nowhere to back him up when he doesn't need it. Nerdface, the quick finish there. And the follow-up now. Okay, that puts them right in the game. And they win the night shift for us. This is a great drop too, right? Lot to play off of here. It's going to get them very much situated.
And the blessing for this fight is it all happened at that one building. So all that loot on the outside, shields, heals, whatever it may be, you can kind of keep it for after the fight. And now they have a chance to really loot up. As you can see, Vidil, Cooper, Sphinx, all back up, all ready to go. Maybe a little bit of misstep early on in the game, but being uncontested kind of gives you the luxury of being able to get your teammates back up, especially with all these barrels underneath. You got the free shields, and then our surrounding spots that they do move towards the south at times that you can get a lot of those water sprites at.
Great quick stat there as well, just showing how consistent Vidil, Cooper, and Sphinx have been in the end game, even in the div cups. But back to Day, CR, and Glow. So we went from a very slow, methodical start, and it makes sense for a team like Venice, Zach, and Plasmafy, who haven't really been able to catch traction here in any of the games. But now things are looking a little bit different. They actually have a load up. They have mats to work with.
But because it's taken this long, you see the outskirts, that full trio, they're not just pushing in, they're taking the surrounding areas to make sure no matter how this fight goes, which team wins, it's them that are going to have that perfect advantage. Especially since it's taken so long, you got to imagine that they don't have a lot of resources. That's Kaz's, DK, towards the outside. Their trio is just a little bit towards the south with an additional angle. He's the one that's probably or should be spotting out Zach and Vedit who are on top of these buildings.
I was just going to say, Zach must be so focused on the team down low that DK, Yusuf, and Kaz surprisingly walk up without putting a single build down and still haven't been spotted out. It's just free for them now, and it's not looking good for Zach. The shots come out, but Yusuf spotted finally. Plasmafy, meanwhile, takes the high ground and says, hold up, I'm here to back you up as well. And all of a sudden now, the standoff comes to an end. The Oni mask was starting to come out. Everyone's trying to get on a road, but no. Plasmafy pushes in. Yusuf gets a heel toss at him from Kaz. They're like sensing desperation almost right now. This can go anyway.
And you see everybody kind of disengage, back up. Yusuf's trio is just kind of all reunited there, and they're just kind of back at square number one, where they started before this fight. Everybody separated, everybody have their own position locked down, and they're all fighting for Surge. But the two teams that actually led it up to Terrace, I think, have the worst of it all, because they still, up until this moment, Monster, have not had a chance to really do
that. Yusuf don't find anything for their troubles, but a little bit of damage exchange there for all parties involved, so it isn't the worst thing to happen here in the early game, given that everyone's still standing. He's got a fishing rod as well, so they're going to make their way back to the waters. Meanwhile, Cam, Macwood, Bacon, sort of split up right now, trying to resituate themselves. Max, Rafiki, and Surge seem to have beat the team here at the Demon's Dojo relatively quickly. Cam and crew were just late to the rotate.
Now it's again working.
I like the decision to kind of back up. Even though you put yourself in Storm, you give yourself an additional angle, especially with Bacon, Cam, and Macwood taking the high ground away from them. And it's just an interesting decision game after game from Bacon, Macwood, and Cam. I don't know if they just switched up their drop spot altogether, but from Pump Power, they went to Brutal Boxcars, and now they're over here, over towards Demon Dojo this game around, trying to solve the problem. Their biggest ailment has been Surge and how they've been handling it, so why not attack it from the beginning of the game?
Oh, like this, Bacon with a huge tag right there, but it's up to Cam. Can he get the follow-up? Macwood swings the corner and wins the exchange at the end there. And now he will be able to pick up both his teammates and get some
Clicks,
relish
like,
in the
live
loot
streaming,
here.
let's see.
Luckily, zone number 1 does land relatively close to them here at the dojo, so they'll be just fine to bounce back in. And, I mean, Jacob, risky call that you're trying to make that, but seems like it was very, very much worth it.
Yeah, after 2 games have been played so far, not only them, but you've got to expect a lot of different trios here today to try to switch
What
up
they are
their
playing
game plan,
games,
whether it's
no,
a
they're also
massive switch
doing
up or
watch party,
something
so
very, very minute. You got to expect things like that, especially with the drop spots that we've seen being changed up. Like I said, I would love to know if they're actually landing over towards pump power, maybe making quick rotations, trying to either get positioning or an early advantage on some of the teams.
let's see who is gonna win this game.
Spearbow, he's got a player in his
Who's going
sights.
to win this game?
Looking to
I
actually
believe.
put some numbers
I
on the
don't
board
know.
right now. They already have 2
To be
eliminations.
fair, I don't know.
These are some
To be fair,
fresh pickups.
I
Coming
don't
actually
know.
3 evens for this team. Okay, yeah, so the full
Because
finish here. They
I bet
rotated
to see how
on the
they're
Kappa
gonna
Kappa
play
factor. I do wonder if someone decided to try to
this
contest them
game. So
surprisingly here
let's
in the end.
wait
As
for a
opposed to
moment.
taking a different drop.
Let's wait till top 20 or something like that.
Two different
So
players right now, just a lot of shields. I'd imagine they kind of
then
have
after
some
a while,
HP
we can
and
see
heals kind of left
what
behind. You
happens,
can see the zone moving over
and
towards
also
the
we
west
can-
instead of just kind of beelining it towards zone.
we can, like,
you can see them moving towards
predict,
the south,
like,
in towards the western area. They're
which
hoping to
player
take a
is gonna
slower
win.
rotation to the
I
zone
believe so.
that
Let's
they
see.
need less and less players that actually want to take those early fights.
No points in taking on the fight because Victor Royale is gonna like
This is where Glow, CR, and Day would have
make
otherwise
them like
had
qualify
3
this
eliminations
round and
plenty
like
of
go to
damage.
final. So why do like they have to
Very
take a
curious
fight?
to see how this
And they
game's
can
gonna
just
end
tag
up settling out for them
take the
as we
people
approach
like
the
enemy and
first
also
surge
uh,
threshold.
like have a good tag like around maybe 5 to 800
B now,
tag,
putting
and
eyes
after
onto
that like they
Saquon there in the
can
distance.
stack up their
At the
tag as well.
build.
Like they can keep
This
tagging.
is the team that have taken
So
reserves over at the Flooded Frogs, right?
let's see
So
what's gonna happen. We don't know, but
maybe not so familiar.
I expect a much different like game plan coming around for Skittles, Chimp, and Victor V this time around. They're getting the zone in their favor. They're able to actually position themselves high up and try to get some early
it
surge,
doesn't
especially for
like
these teams
matter
that land all
where
around
they're
them.
gonna
I know we've
position
had a
until
little
they're
bit
doing
of
for a
switch ups,
surge, but
it does look like there's about like 6-7 teams that do land around
they have to
their
play for the
position,
ending
and I
game.
think
Like
those are the
everybody has to
teams
play for
that
the
they're trying
ending
to
game.
get that
So
early surge on, especially with the zone in their favor.
we can't say
One thing we
nothing.
noticed about Group 1 was
because it's
Twitch took
anybody
full
game, so
advantage,
let's
right?
see.
His team took full advantage of new teams landing at the Flooded Frogs, like coming after the games. They just rotated into those teams. They wouldn't have expected it, right? And that was one of the things we highlighted. Like, hey, if Peterbot was in this lobby, this would be a crazy move to make. Like, why take on such a strong team? But in this type of setting, it's perfect. It's a great way for you to catch teams off guard. They don't really know the dynamics of the general area. You're not practicing here week to week. But put that on hold now as we jump to a full-on trio battle here, literally with 3 teams. The pump power. Talk about the strength of this drop, right? A few spots you'll find abundance here, what looks to be metal and whatnot, so we're gonna work with here.
You can see just a little bit of water down below. That is just enough water for them to be fishing. And that's why I say you can just box up anywhere. There's a tiny pool of water to be able to kind of fish on out of it. But you can see the drastic pull in the zone, the line that they have to make. It does look like it's going to pull and center up just a little bit towards the southwestern part of the map. We'll know more here in just a few minutes about where it's actually going to pull. But a lot of these teams, including this one right here, do have that advantage that some of these other teams don't. They're already in zone. They don't have to rotate. So this would be the perfect opportunity to try to set up on any of these mountains that you see nearby and try to get surge.
So I'm thinking the teams that Warriors watch will have to make a move here soon if they want that prime positioning. Ralphie possessing Diego. We've seen a lot of teams too get this early fishing route going and then drag these heels out.
And they are currently doing nothing, so let's watch.
Don't be surprised if we see
Let's
that
go to
coming
gaming.
shortly. But first, Fred and
And
Liam
let's go to Fortnite, okay?
and crew not here. They have not stopped fighting early game battles on the edge of zone. They've decided to re-engage onto Maxo's trio here after the last game. I guess they feel pretty good about the way that one turned out for them.
Yeah, especially when you're one of those teams that do land this far away from the center of the island. Sometimes this is your only other option, whether you're kind of directly fighting close up just like this or just trying to get shots from far away. It's these corner teams on the map that you really got to take advantage of. And for Fred, Bot, Liam, and Nut, they just got a couple of quick early shots and they start to rotate with the zone. So I think their plan is to try to beat that team on every one of those rotations, but parallel them so that way you continuously try to get surge off of them.
This is good. We get to get eyes on all the teams here. A little shine in the light here for Boji, Aim Red, and Z-Mail. Against Eduardo's trio, Ziggy, Caliper right now. This is the Warriors watch teams that we knew that were kind of battling one another, but none of them have moved out.
A lot of
just
people
yet.
are watching this.
Letting Pride run its course
A lot of
here.
people are watching the same.
There's all this prime
live,
real
so-
estate to start setting up for Surge battles.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Now, if we see one of these trios end up below the Surge, you know exactly why. They spent too much time boxed up, nervous to pull the trigger. That's the difference between a team that's highly experienced in these type of tough lobbies, if you will. But talk about competition here. Kaz is bringing it to the table. The CR answers when it matters on behalf of Day here. And now it's up to Yusuf and Decay here. We want to try to win this fight, but it's a clean 2-on-2 and a reset happening from both sides.
Yeah, and you can kind of see it's the same exact three teams that we saw at the beginning of the game, kind of mirroring each other's moves. But it's basically going to be a trade. So this fight that we're watching right now is a 2v2, but there's a full trio right on top of them. That's Veditz and his teammates that are slowly but surely closing in on the distance. But you can see that they're not pushing in to get that box fight. They're just far enough to where if this one does break out yet again, Monster, they're just going to try to put as much pressure, as much damage, so that way they can just try to get as much surge as they can from the situation.
Yeah, Glow's trying to move out right now. The CR, can they get the pickup here? No one on the truck just yet. They should be the first to it. Meanwhile, B's team under some pressure from
Sigma box and box car.
shooting up at the high ground, not the wisest decision since they're gonna have to rotate too. But
I haven't.
let's see if it ends up
I don't know
playing
their
out for
name.
them.
I think they are not quite famous, maybe. But I
Those tough decisions where timing is
I
everything.
don't see a lot of
Rotate too soon,
pianists.
possibly become a target.
Lot
You
of.
rotate too late.
I do see a lot of like
possibly become a target.
Europe,
It's all about making
European
that perfect
players like
rotation.
Mr.
See
Savage,
Luga's trio all right next to him, making the same rotation.
Panzer,
Cooper, Vidal, Sphinx already made their
of
rotation
course
on top
Mongrel
of
as
the island.
well,
But
and there are
Boston is a
other
whole
people
nother
as well,
team that are trying to
like
be one of the first ones to get that medallion off the top of the island, defeat the boss, and get the extra heals. And Vidal, Cooper, and Sphinx are just trying to interrupt
Malipka.
that, get some surge while they have their hands full.
When it comes to the standings, I mean, we know Snedovir and Scare are playing very strong Fortnite right now, as is, of course, Cooper, the deal, and Sphinx here. And even with the boss right on top of them, they're not looking to overcommit here. They don't want the team to dive on them, catch them while they're, under the boss's attention. There it is. Kind of sends it back that way.
And because the boss just teleports back and forth, you can see them not really shooting at it at a certain moment. You have to imagine that the health might be just a little bit low. They don't want to sacrifice too much to try to make it possible. On the other side, you see the explosive destroying all the builds as well. But did they leave?
They've only massed over to the mills to check, I think, if Sphinx's team dipped, and I'm pretty sure they actually did give it up. They did not like losing all that material there. Sinetto just making sure they don't trust it. But yeah, they do have this themselves. They secure the boss, and really shows you the game plan, the strategy for Cooper, Sphinx, and Medeo is survive, play the end game, right? No reason to throw it away here and now, but Booga of even threats, this is what we talked about. Trouble in paradise here. They were the first to make the move here, and it seems like he might have tried to take a battle.
They're done. Like,
Hold up.
they are just
Back on over to Cooper, Medeo, and Sphinx, who landed on Neko's team.
Yeah, I feel like they have no
So they
intention.
came from the island. Wait, they came from the island down onto Booga and Aviv and all this other congestion happening here.
Yeah, I feel like the way the games have been going so far, from the past, we've seen a lot of teams go up to whether it feels Rift Island or whatever it may be to get Surge. And I feel like this time around, I think teams have learned from that mistake. It's not as easy as it used to. So as soon as they saw it was contested at the Shogun's Arena up above, they were like, hey, we're not going to be able to get as much Surge as we want from up here. Let's move down to the island. And they immediately were able to jump on a team and get some Surge elsewhere. That's proactivity at its finest.
That's a very nice find right there. And I mean, Booga, Aviv, and Threats have to be just devastated by that one, given that they were barely holding on to a competitive footing on the overall standings here. So looking a little desperate for them now, as it will come down to the last two games. Chimp Skittles and Victor V on the move right now. Fred, Liam, and Nut from fighting outside the zone to get the fresh pickup here. They managed to bounce right back into things. I think the zone's going to favor them a bit here. We'll get an update here soon about what the threshold for damage is going to be, as there's still 78 players standing right now. hefty amount.
Yeah, depending on how healthy we actually see this team back, we'll see how good of a fisherman is in that situation. Only pulling one shield fish so far. As Hydra, Webster,
Sorry,
and
guys, I
Freeze,
was
235 above the damage threshold. They were proactive to take one of the many mountains around Foxy Floodgate to try to gain that elevation, which is what they're using to get as much surge as they actually have at this moment in the game. They need to make sure just to not let up off the gas, because you know after every one of these zones, the storm surge threshold actually moves up higher and higher because they got to get rid of more and more teams.
Big fan of Freeze, Hydra, and Webster there. Seen a lot of play from them over the years. But back to the deal, Cooper and Sphinx, the disruptors in the lobby here. Makes sense as to why they wanted to dive on a trio now. They haven't gotten
I think
active this
Cooper
game
is
just yet.
doing in
Real
barrier,
damage
like
there,
they have to
only
win
6 below,
one game.
but it's a desperate spot for a team this good to be in. Off to the edge they go. They need to get in there. They're going to do it now. It's the Reds, Booga, and Aviv. So from the pickup here, from the fire, they tried to rise, but it's all smoke and ashes now as Cooper, Video, and Sphinx make quick work of Threats. And Threats was the healthiest on the trio here. Unfortunate for Aviv and Booga. But hey, they're still alive.
Yeah, good opportunity to get Aviv back, but it's come at a huge cost. Exactly what you said. One of the healthiest players on your team down, and you know Aviv virtually has nothing, being rebooted right back, so it's really going to be up to Booga to try to get as much of the resources as possible, probably lead the charge. You see him going right back to the scene where a couple of eliminations had previously, and that's what they're just trying to scavenge any of this loot, give it on over to Aviv, and potentially, if they're lucky, get Threat's reboot card back.
Yeah, even if it's just a couple of mats, right, it would be something. Most teams find themselves capped on wood, but it doesn't seem like it was worth anything. A full team rotating through their builds, by the way. The zone ends up going south, and Aviv caught in the mix there. Luckily, wasn't finished, but now it's time to go. That's the elimination found. A couple of mats there. Not too bad for them.
This is where they got to make this tough rotation here. Lucky for them, as I look at the mini-map, there's a duo that's next to them, another solo that's nearby, so best case scenario having to rotate as far as they do, especially as a duo. They had to kind of pick up the shambles of fallen players all around them just to get loot back in the game, but 516 damage above the threshold, at least they have that blessing going for them.
Yeah, you can see Aviv doesn't have that wing master. He's just really forced to rotate with what seemed to be the Typhoon Blade there. Aim Red, Boji, Z-Mail. Got to see them early on. You can see the struggles they're dealing with. They're finally starting to earn themselves some points in this game right now, but all named trios nearby, Possess and his team right in front of them. Up they go. Starting to claim space here. Aim Red, though, is going to have to find some damage. Into a box he goes. He finds Fred by Liam's trio. Off guard there. Great tag for him to really just get himself started here. And look, Goji and Z-Mail, though, have the pressure of Diego's trio now from the other side. So this is looking a bit worse for Weird, as they are in the most congested portion of the zone right now. And all these teams are just running through these builds right now.
Yeah, you can see as massive of a shot that was to get above the damage threshold for Storm Surge. Opportunities are slowly but surely closing out as another trio tried to push them. All of them are weak, and a lot of their resources are out the window. But there goes DK, big shot on him. They get the elimination and immediately snatch that body up into their box to get the resources.
He might be back in action now a little bit here. Very much worth it. Only Mask comes out of it. 15 charges as well, so they're going to get moving now. And look at Booga. Booga just with now 2 charges left in Oni Mask. No shields here to work with, but it's got a bit of a dead side rotate. You can see all the builds in the distance. Sees fresh mats getting completed there on that metal casing just next door. So it's the one base he's got to be hyper cautious of. What a tough spot to be in, man.
Yeah, it's just so points. I'm looking at the HP. I'm looking at the lack of builds. I'm looking at
It's really hard for Booga
charges
to
on his
survive
mask, so using it now means he won't be able to survive with it later on in the game. It's just troubles upon troubles stacked up against Booga here, who's at a solo. The same thing could be said for Veer, Scare, and Sonetto down below. Second place so far on the day in consistency, but they're 184 below the damage threshold. Means they might quite possibly have to make a risky play in order to get above.
You can see how that medallion is really coming in handy here. Complete invisibility while sprinting right there. Makes me
Not
work.
complete, but they can see.
Interesting opportunity to try to play through those side angles.
Saying whatever you want to say.
Oh no.
It's not complete.
Rotate, the shots are coming in. Another end game seemingly finishing by a body of water. This is not where you want to be. Pressure coming in from everywhere. No heals left for Veer. Scares down and out. Can they find some tags in the trade? No, Veer's out. And this is it. It's up to Scare now. He did manage to find some shields. He finds some extra mats too, so he might be able to hold on, but the lobby seems to be super bloodthirsty.
Just gonna say for a moment, at least Fear didn't go down in vain because he got them above the threshold, but Scared
He's
goes from one
gone.
tough spot to the next. He goes down by pikes. They get to pick up all that loot. With every other team trying to rotate
Bugai?
over in this
Oh my
position
God.
as well. This is where you really have
Bugai
to be
is still alive.
conscientious of the surrounding terrain. You see all the mountain ranges. Even this zone here will have different elevations as it goes down the mountain to the bottom of that riverside.
I'm curious now if whether or not losing early in this game, right, pausing for Veer Soneto at 123 points is going to make it all the more closer now for a consistency finish. This is a tough spot to be in now. For Buga, he's still holding on by a thread. One of the only solos alive that we can see right now at a glance. Meanwhile, the juggernauts of the lobby clearly setting themselves apart from the rest is Cooper the Deal. Sphinx at the top of the mountain, figuratively and literally here of the lobby right now. As they're at 6 elims, hefty positioning, high ground, peering over the rest of the lobby. What a spot to be in here now. They should be able to actually coast their way to victory here.
And I like how they're not necessarily overbuilding. They know they're the top team on the top of that mountain. Wait for the next zone. Don't waste the materials early. Because you see, if they did, they would have wasted. Because now they have a far pool, but it goes down the mountain ranges. A little bit more even playing ground for a lot of these teams. But the troubles continue for Buga. 157 below the damage threshold. Only one bandage. He has to figure out how and when to make this play.
Nah, he's done. He's literally just got ripped out of the sky, I believe, by Cooper's fixing video there. It was a great try. And look at this. The Void only mask across here. Vigil sets up shop, and now they have the high ground to themselves here. Meanwhile, trouble down below here for Skittles, Chimp, and Victor. A lot of teams we're seeing in this 90 to 110 point threshold starting to fall now or face troubles. It's going to be a very, very close game 4 that we're setting up for right now. Skittles, though, with a wonderful refresh there. The Siphon keeping them alive ever so longer, but the Storm does so much damage.
So him and Chimp got to figure out a way to reunite. What little heals they have left, they got to use them together. Water Sprite included. 30 instantly. If they have the time, they can get a little bit more after that. Salt, Sparebow, and Joe just kind of struggling around, trying to figure out, do they go up, do they go down? And there's a whole nother team down below them that's on the hunt. And I got to give credit where credit's due. Considering they're a surprise contested here today, back-to-back games, Possessed and his trio are making magic happen.
They're a tough spot to be in. The zone's going back over the water. Cooper, Maville, and Sphinx don't have anything to worry about, though. They have plenty of mats to work with, but you can see how many layers now separating them amongst the other teams. It's going to be hard to break through all this. Do they have the firepower to do it? Looks like it. The ammunition counts are seemingly decent at the moment, but what's happening down low is Chimp and Skittles, Victor V, just trying to hammer their way through the builds while they can. This is a 2-man fight right now for them. Meanwhile, JoJo and Aoxy are the only left alive here. Intake, Pikes is down and out. JoJo needs a refresh. They end up swapping medallions there. He's off to the races as he's left to try to clutch this one up. Aoxy's like, I don't got mats, bro. Just go. Do what you gotta do. He's gonna try to find eliminations here on the backside of zone. He's got one in sights.
The selfless play coming out from Aoxy. I know so many teammates that would love to keep that medallion for themselves, but it's all about the win at the end of the day, and especially now that he's by himself. So Aoxy making that right call, giving up the medallion. Zout's on the other side, 1v1. But Vidil, Cooper, Sphinx, they're on the hunt. They've had enough of these second places, Monster. They want that first.
They should get the win here. Vidil bringing the mats up to the high ground here, hooking up his teammate, and then back low, he should be on the way there, the Oni mask really showing you how to traverse in the end game here to pick up those refreshes here. But Sloth, Zerx, Miro, one of the stronger, healthier teams and alive together are still running through the game here. I was just going to say, but mistakes could be made there without blocking their tunnels. But it seems like Miro picked up on that one pretty quickly. Jojo finally falls now. Top 6 for him, not bad.
Siphon Mats,
Oh my God.
Medallion. Not bad at all, but the pressure's coming from up above. They have to be careful. And 1 moment ago, I was thinking, man, they do have a lot of builds, but those builds are down and out the window because the pressure from above. But they know a team's down below. Freeze, Webster, they become the targets of that attack. A lot of damage, but no knock just yet. And this is the deal, Cooper and Sphinx. They're still pressuring from up above, and they're slowly but surely dropping layer by layer to finish this game.
And they are on the hunt right now, chomping their way through these builds, but this is it. Things are going to come to a full close in 20 seconds. I don't think it's going to go the distance. They might not let it. They shouldn't, at least. Sloth and crew do have mats, though. Do not count them out. They've been slowly working their way through the low ground. However, it's starting to come to an end here. Vidil Coles, he gets met with 3 shotgun shots. Cooper doesn't want to see it happen. He gets the full finish here. Miro trying to run back. He's got a pitch between the wall. It's hard to see. And he actually gets the finish. It's a big siphon.
That's a big siphon right there. Sphinx only has the chug splashes that are left. Depending on how many eliminations he was able to get, not enough. Big opportunity for Mirrors, but it doesn't work. Sphinx clutches up to take the game and advance to the Major 1 finals.
Hey, I'll be honest, it wasn't pretty, but they got the job done there. Good deal, Cooper, Sphinx, putting their back to the wall on that mountain. It really does play effect, right? When the camera angle's hard to play off of. And honestly, for Sloth and his team, I genuinely thought they were about to pull the upset off, but Cooper, Sphinx, and Vidil had nothing. They wanted nothing to do with that. They needed this victory royale. And off to the finals they go. Take a look here, Jacob. Game 3, explosive for what was the best team in the lobby today, right? They've been the most consistent so far.
Yeah, and you can kind of see the splashes. That was the huge difference maker for this team. Consolidating it all onto Sphinx. And we saw a moment where they were dropping materials, dropping resources back and forth. And even with Sphinx here out of splashes, he knew the game was over. But Neil, Cooper, Sphinx,
Well, I don't think so.
But analysts, what did you think of that performance?
Absolute perfection when your script goes the way that you wrote it. Fantastic stuff.
Tired guys, tired just of watching this game. What is this?
Dude. Like just and then you know that money's just being marked as like for this, but they're just freaking blowing it somewhere else, you know, giving it to other people themselves in their pockets. Yeah.
All the people they're investigating are.
I don't have good PC to play Fortnite, guys. I need to wait for some moment. There was like previous game when I used to play, okay, like it was maybe 6 years, 7 years ago, but I don't know. Right now I have not played. Let's see this one. There's nothing, no audio in this game, but I was really good at that point. I'm gonna have still 3 kills, I think. Not good. I think I was doing solo squad there. Or duo squad, I think. That was my friend, so dead. Don't know this is actually okay. I was really good at that prayer at that time, so squad win. Did we really win? Oh yes. Oh, it was like why all year? Anything happening? Yes. So it's customizable channel, but I am not trying to do anything. Regarding the watch 40, yes, but
Obviously, we talked about 4 trios at the start of the show. 3 of them have qualified. That's good and bad. Good for everyone else in the lobby, right? They're thinking, okay, these high-profile trios, they're going through. That means more people have opportunities to qualify right now.
That's true. So the remaining trio we talked about was Aviv, Vuga, and Threads. So let's see if we can, the caster blessing, I think, is the opposite of the caster curse there. No, but in reality, just looking at our standings right now, we can see just how close the competition is, going from 4th all the way down even to like 12th, 13th place on the next stage. And Vivid was talking about it before. We saw Cease in Group 1 gain 80 points in the final game. So I think that none of these trios are confirmed for consistency just yet.
I mean, super close spread there from just that, or at the top of the consistency leaderboard right there. But I mean, Aoxy, Jojo, Pikes, they've just been getting better throughout the day. I mean, the first game of the day, they got 8th. Second game, they got 7th. Third game right there, they got 6th. All big, you know, that third game, 6th place right there was a little bit of a solo clutch coming out of Jojo Fishy with the help of the medallion. But hey, listen, getting better and better. Honestly, they don't even really need to get better, right? Securing those top 10s very, very consistently obviously keeps them in that first place spot on the consistency leaderboard. But hey, maybe they're working their way towards a win too.
That could be worthwhile, right? We get ourselves a win, and then now you're looking at everyone else, right? With only 1 game left to go, or maybe they even get game 5, right? Like, again, we don't really know how this is going to go until those final moments of that last game. And like EU showed us, or like even Kelly said, right? It takes one game. Suddenly you hit 80 points and everyone else in the lobby's like, okay, why'd you do that? Now we're all getting shaken up. Who's in that top 5? 6th place though, Victor V, one of the most wholesome people we know. Skittles and Chip as well. Check this out, tied right now with Scared, Seto, and Veer. I mean, literally exactly the same with points and eliminations. But I want to see these guys make it to the Major 1 finals so bad. I mean, obviously, we've seen Skittles and Chip for so long. And, you know, Victor V, we've loved Victor V since last year, right? Like, being one of these up-and-comers who just showed up and was so wholesome in the globals. Like, I just have to see them make it through.
Especially with that interview that they had with Victor V's dad, his coach in the background. It definitely ingratiated him into the rest of the community. And joined by Skittles and Chimp, just 2 veterans in the scene. I definitely think that this is a trio that can hold up. We saw them do really well in the play-ins. They're second seeded out of this group, so clearly they don't have much to prove right now. They're doing already well, but we need to make sure that they solidify their spot into placements.
And games 2 and 3 from this trio were very, very good, right? They snuck into that top 10 in every single one of those games, which probably is on the back foot of Peterbot qualifying. Right now they can go pick on some of those newer teams to flood it, like MDF brought up earlier. Let's see if they can do it in another game.
Just 2 more games, so let's buckle up. It is time once again. Casters, over to you.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Again, time is winding down, Monster. We're here. Game number 4 is about to be among us, and there's only one more game left after that. So if you don't find yourself winning either one of these 2 games, you have to make sure to stay consistent.
Yeah, well, one thing to think about with Cooper's team actually solidifying the victory, this is great for everyone playing for consistency right now. They had so many points. They were easily the most consistent team in the lobby, so things should start to ease up for them. And we heard word from Cooper himself on the timeline. He's like, dude, playing high ground, sleeper, super easy. They made it happen. It didn't look like that, but they did, of course, ride their way to victory. So let's see it here now. Game number 4.
Time is definitely running out for a lot of these teams to really make up the point gap. So for some, it's a victory round or that last chance qualifier. For others, if you find yourself within striking distance, this is the game that really matters here. If you go down without eliminations and before the top 17, 0 points for your efforts, that puts so much pressure on that last game of the day.
A lot of pressure. We've seen it happen before. We've seen, miracle runs occur for Cease. That was him last week. The Vets pulling it out. Right now, I mean, all eyes are on Booga Threats and Aviv. Can they figure out, what's going wrong for them in the mid game and really solidify themselves a strong end game finish? In game 2 was super close, but you saw what they did wrong. They took high ground super early and just overcommitted on the metal.
Yeah, usually when I see a high ground take 7th zone, it just it makes it a little too early, especially with the Void Mash just being able to instantly move up and try to take it. But even with an advantage, you see the Demon's Dojo fight slowing down just a little bit. With only 2 games left, that risk versus reward may not necessarily be the same as if you had 5 games at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, I mean, with how close the points are between 4th and basically 12th, it's anyone's game right now. One big pop-off and you are up in the conversation right now. This is going to come down to the wire as far as consistency is concerned. I do see a lot of teams being just upset, right? Coming up extremely short, given how contentious it's been. For Dayglow and CR, though, they've fought somewhat of an uphill battle. The first 2 games, quick and easy. They wrap things up here at T-Terrace, and then all of a sudden now game 3, they get their party. The team is figuring out how to drop better. And now it seems like Zach, Plasmify, and Vedits are taking that learnings of how to actually match this drop, and they have more and more advantage. Coming in even now into game 4, they seem to just get better over time.
Yeah, and it's just going to be hard because you can't even necessarily disengage from a fight like this no matter how long it takes. You go north, there's 2 teams there. You go south, there's 2 teams there. You go to the right, there's only 1 team, but it's Soneto, Veer, and Scare. So it's not easy decisions that you really
really have to make at a time like this, but Glow is going to be the first one going down. Everybody else getting the green light. You see them converging, trying to get more and more eliminations. That's a second down. Dave being the only one left, trying to make a heroic play, but it's just not enough. Zach plasmifying V, and it's not only live off spawn, but they win the fight. And a big, what's that? Multiple point swing right there for them now. This is going to really set themselves up for success. And you saw what happened as soon as the knock goes through. Just Plasmify greets him with a huge shotgun shot to the face. Jumping over here. What is happening to the Flooded Frogs? I think you jinxed it, Jacob. Last game you mentioned, why not take the Flood? And all of a sudden now, there are 4 teams here. Okay, wait. Let me say something though. It makes sense why Maxo and team have come here because they were being hunted by Liam and Nut, but somehow Liam, Nut, and Freddy know that they're here too. This is crazy. I feel like I should have just checked my mail. I might have got an invitation to this party. I just didn't have enough time to go and check it. And you see one team is at least disengaging on out, but there's still 3 more here over towards Flooded Frogs. And this fighting underground is the scariest, most hard thing that you're going to do. There could be a player hiding around any single one of these corners, even if a wall isn't built. Yeah, just crazy stuff at work right there. We'll pay attention to the total teams there on the top left, so we'll see how it plays out. Jojo Fishy, Oxy, Intake Pikes. Lovely drop that they have, of course, securing the bird here and all the surrounding areas, and you can see that things are going to get a lot less congested around here as teams start to qualify out. Obviously, we saw with Sphinx and team, Mass Metal is completely opened up too, so all those teams start to like spread out a bit down here. That could work against certain trios,
I don't know
let's be
which team is gonna
given
win.
that you still need damage, right?
Which team is going to win? Let's see.
Just kind of looking right now, just trying to get a little sense of where the zone is going. You see it on the outskirts, already pulling a little bit more towards the north, so hopefully for a team like this, Skittles, Chimp, and Victor V, you want a zone to pull over here in your favor, at least one of these games, because that'll definitely help with how consistent you're playing so far, and then it obviously ups the chances of being able to win the game overall. Possess, Diego, Ralphie.
I think it should be the last game.
I said it last game, I'll say it here again. Contested, surprise, contested. They're performing phenomenally well considering their circumstances.
It will be the last maybe.
Right on top of...
I'm not playing game and I'm only watching, so it's not fun watching like alone, not having any friend to watch this
last game, Veer and team did fall pretty quickly in the mid game, so they're making up for lost time right now. But one thing they learned after game 2 is that they needed that storm surge, so they don't want to find themselves in that situation. This is why they've been relatively aggressive in this early game type of setting, and seems so far to be working for them. Vedix is the one most weakened in all of these exchanges here. I like the confidence of him getting built up over the years. Every experience that he's had in FNCS is kind of being used and all put to the test here. You talked about them going down early in that last game. They had a 0-point game, 18th place, 0 eliminations, 21 minutes. That's a long time to be in a game without a point. And it's one of those things that, I'm not going to say make or break you, but it definitely motivates you as you see them really not backing off this fight. With the zone right next to them, but just on the outside, they almost have this one uncontested with no team's going to be moving in this direction. The one thing I can say that they're doing very well is circling this team and pushing them out of those metal builds and into more fresh builds. Yeah, and that's making the difference in them just really forcing them, I would assume, to now be extremely low on material. They have branched out a tremendous amount, and notice the woods coming up, so they might be out of most hard maps. Yeah, take a look at Zach's inventory. It is not looking great here. It's
I will just watch for 10 or 15 minutes, then I will like,
but in return you're getting all this
in my life
off of your opponents.
Because I've already got like 50 gold today.
Shotgun as well, so not even the best box fight loadout, and a surprise attack coming from Veer on the right. Almost get caught off guard, but it's Scare who goes down. He was by himself, separated from everybody else. They basically 3-2-1 him in that same box. But they're just unable to get the elimination just yet. They think it's just a little bit too risky, especially since the damage. Plasmify and Vedix just getting their shields ripped off of them yet again. They're forced to converge back in the same box, giving Veer and Sineto an opportunity to get this revive. That's wild that they let the pickup happen here. And now they have to fight back for the lead that they earned, and Vedix is going to be the first one punished. They make the edit here, but Sonato's there with an excellent shot back and exchange here. The zone now starts to push in. Everyone's under big pressure here, but the open edit onto Veditz gets the finish there. Veditz frazzled, caught in the chaos here, and now Sinetto, Scare, and Vera pushing through, trying to capture Zach here. Off he goes, out into the open, and the Typhoon Blade is in hand here as he bounces back on over. Plasmafy gets caught too, and the more experienced trio takes it away here. What an exchange for them, and you know, it really does mean more for them as they needed to earn these points here. So already this game's shaping up to be better for them, and they get to hold their spot on the standings.
Yeah, that was a terrifying position to be in right there, but the way everybody, I think it was Sinetto and Veer played it, was scared down, able to get the revive, and then finish the fight. I like how they didn't go on the chase either. Just kind of converge on the one, knowing he's going to have to return to that reboot card sooner or later. So giving you the choice if you want to stay or move on out as Yuma finds struggles. Yet again, it's his own teams that are here towards the outside. Not only do you have to go over that first mountain, but you have to go past so many other teams that are probably positioned on that mountain as well.
Ooh. Mirrock's on the move right now. Saw the quick knock onto Tonkasita right there, so setting them up, keeping that momentum from the last game here. We have the FX line right now. Jurassic Maniac just outside the Meadows. Take a look at the standings. They're very much in this conversation right now. It's going to be 111 points, the threshold you basically want to fight your way towards. It's quite a ways away for some of these teams, but we know 50, 60 point swings are in the question here.
I like that cheeky play from Maves. They were so distracted on a whole nother trio trying to orb their way on out, trying to make a sneaky opportunity happen there with some quick shots. Didn't land as much as he wanted, but those opportunities, the willingness to be able to try to take advantage of those opportunities, which are huge. There's a few teams stacked over here towards Mass Meadows, the zone. I thought at the beginning of the game we were going to pull towards the north, but I think best case scenario for the majority of the teams in this lobby is if it just centers up right in the middle of the map.
See how it's going to play out right now. Meanwhile, others continue to maintain. It's a nice little hold here from Aim Red, Boji. Where is he going? Got a little stash back here.
Yeah, the only problem with a drop like this is, even though there's a split drop, is I've landed here once or twice, is yes, metal is a major thing, but it's just the loot is so spread out that you kind of have to just kind of play as three individuals for a little portion of the game, the early game, in order to loot up. So I can imagine right now the next portion, their next goal is going to be going for Surge, because I can imagine they probably don't have a lot of it.
Fredbot, Liam, Nut here have been keeping us absolutely entertained. Every single game we jump in with them, they're in a wonderful and sometimes questionable fight. This time, no, it's at the Flooded Frogs. We had so much concern about why there were so many teams here. And you can see it's because Liam and his trio have just continued to hunt and hunt game after game. Take a look at the replay here from the high ground. Liam finding opportunity. This has been a fight that started at the beginning of the game. Somehow they still have mats and stuff to work with. They haven't really left the drop.
Yeah, I think they were one of the few teams that actually landed there that instead of just kind of staying at the drop, they kind of looted the outskirts, got a little bit of wood, got some brick that is kind of all around there, and then they went back to where they began. Brutal boxcars, double contested, or seemingly so, right out of the gates. And a huge fight right here that you have to be careful for, because you see he's by himself, gets broken down, shield's gone, HP just a little bit left, but he's able to slip his way on out, get back. But it's Ridgeby that was actually able to get the knock. He's only able to escape for so far before he was actually sent down back to the lobby.
First big elimination here for them right now. Brutal boxcars continue to have teams converge towards it though. The pressure is still on. It's not safe by any means. There goes Chimp and his trio. That's the team on the outskirts right now. Looking inside. Gotta be careful. I was going to say, one of the guys just kind of just pushed up by himself. Any one of these two trios can easily turn, try to take out the solo, but the shots are just coming from too many different directions. They can't get a handle on where it's actually coming from, and that's why you see them scrambling all around inside of their boxes, trying to claim space. But everybody here in that close altercation is going to try to disengage on out. They didn't necessarily get what they wanted, but when it comes to Surge, sometimes something is better than nothing. There's Georgie making his way towards the islands here now that have just populated their way in. Aaron and Nerface fighting up top onto the boss to secure that medallion. Should be a big pickup. No one here in sight, so relatively easy for them right now. First team up there, Aaron's immediately trying to start that boss. There is a lot of extra barrels, there is extra heals, and on top of that, not just the medallion, but the boss does drop some big pots that you can use for shields. So if you can quickly attack this and then set your focus down below to try to get Surge, that's a perfect scenario. And right now, Nerface, Joji, and Aaron are doing just that. Hopefully the medallion doesn't fall. I was gonna say, where'd he go? It's on the edge. All the way to the edge, yep. Aaron's there to meet him. Still no teams in sight here. So they have plenty of time to get situated, cover back in, and then
no, I want to see Buga winning
some
this game.
central positioning here.
I don't know.
Meanwhile, I was wondering what's going on with Spearbo's team, as this is kind of his area, right? He lands in this south zone down by the Kappa Kappa factory. They've moved up ever so slightly, but still no points earned just yet. Only 4 teams down and out of this game so far. 8 more teams need to drop just for placement points to begin to set in. And it does look like the zone right now, a little bit towards the north, but overall center. So a lot of these teams got equal share, but there's still a decent amount of those mountain ranges all around still in the map. Brutal Boxcars being one of them, so I can see that being a focal point for any teams trying to rotate on over there. I'm just trying to see what this loadout is right now. He does have that SMG. It's just the only thing I don't like about this SMG, even though it is the mythic variation, it just doesn't do a lot of damage to structures. So if you find yourself down on Surge having to 3-2-1 a box, that's just a little bit less damage that will happen to those structures to be able to break through to actually get Surge. That's right, given that it has to kind of cook up. Take a look at Diego, Ralphie, and Possessed Aim right now. Very much in the conversation right now for consistency, qualifying their way to the finals. 120 points earned here, placed them up at 7th. They've had a relatively consistent start and then only have gotten better throughout the day, starting with an 11th, a 9th, and then an 8th place finish, which we've seen can be fairly difficult to get past. Those end games have had so many teams still alive. Placing points is not something that I would say is dependable as far as strategy is concerned. You really do have to run away with things and be dominant in that end game. Snedovir and Scare's team have been absolutely slept on, I would say, throughout the entire Group 2 stage, but they've really showed up and proven that they can make a great performance here. One of the only teams we've tuned in at the early games that have had consistently multiple eliminations like this. And that's why I highlighted them when we had our little chance to. I knew their name would stand out to us, but I gotta admit, they performed well beyond my expectations for them. Yeah, I think we saw Youssef kind of go down early in that last game. It's just the struggles yet again. You know, Fredbot, Liam, just playing hyper aggressive towards the top portion of the map. Any team, it feels like, that even rotates near them becomes a target. And they hear another team rebooted off into the distance. That's Saquon. Luckily for him, it doesn't look like he took too much damage early on. A whole nother team distracted Nutliam and Fredbot. And it's actually that team that got rebooted. They're the ones closing the distance, trying to circle this place so that way they can get as much loot as possible from the fallen enemies. I'm curious how the standards are shaking up for Liam and his team. I mean, they definitely have found so many eliminations. Like, that's what's holding them up right now. They just got to find the placement points at this point, and that'll really put them in the conversation. The fact that not only with a reboot, they're still 96 above the damage threshold, decently impressive. that can kind of give them the option to try to loot up as much as possible before they make their way in towards zone, but the struggles continue on the other side. Ralphie possessed Diego. From looking fine moments ago to in a full-on battle, Possess lost a lot of HP, a lot of shield, but they're quickly trying to reunite in the same box, give them the strength, the confidence to try to heal up, especially with the splashes, the water sprites. It's going to take no time at all. I'll say, though, it makes sense. Sparrow seems pretty desperate. We already knew that they didn't have any eliminations. They haven't really found early game eliminations, but most importantly, they were set up in that box for way too long. It was way too quiet. It was just a matter of time before they had to dive on someone, and it just looks like things are just quickly unfolding right now. Rotates are coming out. I like what we're seeing here, but Oni Mask is going to make it so everyone dashing away faster to be able to find tags. Love the Typhoon Blade for this movement right here. It's better than nothing.
And they see where the zone is going over towards Seaport City, so that fishing rod is definitely going to come in handy. As long as they can make it there near some of that water, they can start to fish those shield fish, the floppers, whatever kind of comes on out. And because of a little bit of opportunity and a little bit of aggression, 244 above the damage threshold, it's something they're going to have to worry about in the next couple of zones, but for now, they can at least focus on their rotation.
So they're doing a double Typhoon Blade rotate, one Oni Mask.
Guy alive, but
that's why
no,
you
he's
have a
alive.
hit stop and splash,
Yeah,
making
really.
sure that you stay healthy here. Meanwhile, threats, Booga and Aviv. Look at the elimination count for this team right here. They are making up for that shortcoming of a game that they just had. This alone is going to put them right back into a competitive standing here for consistency, if nothing else at the moment. And now we're in Zone 7 with NAC, so they just fully eliminated a team and have set themselves up for an end game. I think we're going to be seeing another high ground Zone 7 hold here at B. We'll see how it ends up working out. The markers are coming out. They want to be as far in as possible. But first, they got to heal.
Yeah. It's a wildly different performance for them so far. 2 10th places and a 12th place. Overall, up into this game, they had 12 eliminations total. They have more than half of that this game alone. Almost a different look coming out from Booga, Aviv, and Threats this game around, and they're making sure to maintain their position in zone. Very, very early to rotate. They want to be one of the first teams there, so that way they can take advantage of all the slower rotating teams after them.
Looks like the teams, though, have not allowed them to really situate themselves up at a prime position, so they're just going to have to wait this one out, try to find an opportunity for high ground later. Meanwhile, Myrox, Zerx and Slop here from the last game, coming up in second, just sleeper team up out of nowhere. Nap on themselves with the spotlight on them. They've earned the points to be in the conversation. Big tax coming in from the team down low. Oh, they might have just caught themselves someone without an Oni Mask, but they know the team ended up bouncing straight above them.
Oh, man. Diego's going to go down. Possessed, got a huge chunk of HP missing. Ralphie goes down. Possessed is gone. That's got to be one of the worst positions to have to rotate from, because you have that whole mountain range where you saw a bunch of teams have that firing range to take them down. 211 below. Batman Joe, Sparrow, and Zolf just trying to take advantage of a team that they're trying to catch off guard. 191. No successful shots being landed just yet. So they're going to have to do it yet again to a whole nother team. Full team focus fire right now. Still below the surge, though. They are going to have to do something big here. I'm not even seeing a lot of heals in the inventories here yet. It's mostly minis here. Sparebow and company have struggled to find a good fight and really solidify themselves damage. Now, there are some weak builds there, weak teams as well, but no dives just yet. The zone is actually on their side, so this is probably the worst time to have Storm Surge issues when you've been blessed with the zone here. And look, they're trying to heal through it, so it lasts for quite some time. It digs into all of their HP, but hey, they live to see another day, and they've earned themselves a little bit of placement now. Yeah, I was going to say, it turns off, but it's only going to turn off for a moment. 42 players still left alive. They look in the distance. It's Booga, Threats, and Aviv, but it's 8th zone. They're at least learning their lesson. They had it 7th zone, which is a little bit too early. As long as they can orb from zone to zone and continue to hold on the high ground, I think this could be their game.
Meanwhile, Sparebow, Joe, Zach jumping into someone's lair here, trying to find elimination, trying to find a team. Nothing just yet. They double back, sensing danger. Still, though, they sit in the zone here. Down another layer they go. This is not good. This is not a good situation to be in. Luckily for them, it's not active, but they got the freebies trying to break their way in. But a flank comes in, a whole new trio. Batman Joe loses 2 teammates, but he has to be the hero that they need, but he goes down as well. Out of this game, leaving it all on the line on game number 5. This is what we like to see, though. Batman Booga, that's hilarious. Jeez, Aviv, Threats and Booga sitting up top. That's what I get for reading Batman Joe's name. I'm just mixing it all up now. 9 eliminations for high ground, plenty of mats to work with. Look at this, dude, this game loves the water. The zone is going towards another watery ending right now as things start to unfold here and off the high ground as well. Yeah, their goal is to kind of stagger, let all these teams down below and be one of the first teams to rotate, and then they rotate on top of them and try to maintain their position. Here's Senato's scared with how aggressive they've been so far. They're 1,100 above the damage threshold. They only need to worry about their rotations and how they're going to make it there safely. And right now, they did a good job staying away from that ultimate low ground. That's where a lot of the chaos, that's where a lot of the destruction ensues in these games. I see it play out right now. Damage coming in from above, all that pressure. Chip gets tagged from the team across as well, so it's damage from all layers now. And it's Threats who's really putting up the pressure here. Booga jumps down to solidify the builds here, making sure they stay absolutely sound, secured to the next layers here. And they have so much mats to work with. All they have to do is just keep firing here, and it'll be surely an end game that'll send them overall to finals here. Webster shoots up to the high ground. Freeze, Hydra, and Webster are there now. They have to be careful. This is a team that is inside the top 10, but Freeze gets knocked and full finish by Aviv there. Now, Beer, Soneto, and Scare have a play to make here. They have enough mats to contest height if they really want to, but I think they just want zone. Yeah, this next couple of zones going to be real telling. This is where teams usually like to contest for it. With a high ground, they hope to have down on mats. Kind of in shambles with no resources. Eric Slots and Eric's down below. A team that's just been ever so growing in terms of how good they've been playing every single one of those games. But he obviously seems to be down by himself, a solo, trying to make a road play and keep him on top of the leaderboard. What I will say is this team plays like it's their first time in an endgame at this caliber. Look how slowly and calculated they are taking their battles. They do not want to mess this opportunity up. I love what I'm seeing from them. It just shows that it means a lot. Meanwhile, a team that is throwing it all at the wall right here, Aim Red and Boji go straight up and take high ground from Booga and Threats now, forcing up to low ground. And look at the mats starting to dwindle away here. And this is such a weak tarp too. It's all wooden. They've already used all their heavy mats, but the pressure coming in, this is exactly what we expected. A quality team like Threats and Crew, but Aim Red are holding on, not for long now. It's going to be a delivery of loot here for Threats. Back to the high ground they go, but another team's now joined up. This is desperation in game 4, Jacob. Everyone wants this win. That's Avi and Neko and Murphy's team trying to challenge him for the high ground, but they bought a struck just a little bit too early. They run out of mats, forced to go down low, and they get eliminated on top of it. Booga, Threats, and Aviv, they reclaim their high ground, and they put pressure down on the Chimp, Victor V, and Skittles. The only one down there, but Threats goes down. Fall damage is real, and now they're stuck as a duo. And you know, Chimp is calling it out right now. Skittles, they know this is an opportunity for them. Victor V fired up. In goes Chimp. This is where he performs best. Box to box, door to door. Victor V, no stranger to the mechanics. They take down another one. More mats for them. Chip jumps to low ground, putting pressure on V. Gets the finish there. He doesn't let him get comfortable. Now the siphon's ticking. Chip still has mats to work with, and up they go to splash it out now. And they are recovering the game here. I'd say Booga with a solo opportunity. He's not going to be able to get it. 3v3 going down. Big shots by Chip. He's able to get the knock on the 1. Knock on the 2. He goes down. Rafiki's trying to make a play. But Skittles and Victor V are there for the save. They win the game and they advance to the Major 1 finals. Give it up for Victor V, the kid coming from Westminster. You got to think everyone should be proud. And after having to make the decision, should I play on East? Can I send myself to finals? Am I that good? You surely are, son, and you see it. Once again, the medallion on the hands of a player like Chimp was just disgusting. Very, very well played. He was dipping and dashing across the team. They didn't even know how to track him there, and he was putting him down. Take a look at the highlights, though.
Oh, no, we're going to wait. We're going to wait.
Yeah, they worked through that mid layer. They looked up. That whole battle with Luga and even Threats were battling. They were the ones who snuck away those eliminations and eventually got the drop on the Threats. Eventually basically taking down the whole team because they got a V as well. There's the medallion play you were talking about. And Victor V sealing that deal. Skittles, Chimp, Victor V, congratulations to you guys. You put on one great show. But with only one match left after this, we got to throw it to the desk to break down game 4.
I'm going to go ahead and say this right now. Okay, the Shogun X medallion has to be my favorite medallion ever made, okay? Dash coin was pretty cool. It was pretty flashy. But that just being able to just slip in and out of being invisible and then just kind of change your life. You just watch.
Guys, that's all for today. I am going to
he's here.
end my
I
stream.
can't see him.
See you another day, next day.
Got this, right? Like, this coin just lets
Okay, guys,
people
bye.
go on this like unbelievably
Okay, guys, bye.
and
Okay, guys,
aggressive,
bye.
like way. I just love this coin and just see